is Ern Velasquez, your technical expert of Glodon Philippines. And today it's actually a good day, hindi ganong maaraw, no? We will be discussing our second software, yung aming rebar detailing software. It's what we call the TRB-C or the takeoff for rebar. So first of all, I assume that every one of you here is knowledgeable in our TAS software or takeoff for architecture and structure. Now, why do I ask na kung marunong po kayo mag-TAS? It is because yung methods po ng TRB is almost the same as TAS in terms of modeling the structure. And also, the TRB software cannot compute for concrete or formworks quantity, only rebars po. So what we will do is we will try to import the TAS model papunta po sa TRB, and then we will apply rebars inside every elements of our structure. Alright, so this will be a one-day training. Isang araw lang po yung training na ito. Also, medyo compared to TAS, the TRB-C software is a bit technical, no? It is because the software has the ACI code inside. So you don't have to memorize everything. You don't have to understand. You don't have to take note of each codes I will be presenting to you. No, bibigyan ko po kayo ng website wherein you can find the manual of each codes present in the software. Right, and also we will try to discuss only the basic structures, columns, beams, slabs, foundation, and staircase. So that 5 elements po muna ang i-discuss natin. And then, we will have a quiz later on. Okay, we will have a quiz around 5 p.m. pa magko-quiz tayo. It's a 20-item quiz. And if you pass the quiz, we will give you the certificate. Okay, yung quiz po madali lang quiz. And just to give you a hint, I think most of the questions in the quiz, no, around 8 to 10 questions in the quiz are from TAS software. So since magaling na po kayo sa TAS software, maybe you can answer those 8 to 10 questions already. So yung the next 10 questions or 10 to 12 questions, try po natin i-explore sa ating TRB software. Right, so that's it po. Now, please expect in the first 1 hour, 1.5 hour po, I will be discussing the basic user interface, yung software interface po muna natin. I won't be modeling any structure because I want to build the foundation, no? Yung gusto ko po i-build nyo yung foundation nyo regarding sa understanding ng TRB-C software. Okay, so baka makita nyo rin, no? You know what project settings is in task, no? So pag nagpa-project settings tayo, we define the basic information of the structure. Here in the TRB-C software, medyo maraming project settings. We have, I think, around 9 project settings. Baka po magulat kayo sa rami ng project settings. It is because, again, it's based on the ACI 318 code. And also, yung mga details po, yung mga rebar details po, it was compiled by our product team when they research here in the Philippines. Okay, so without further ado, let's start. Again, if you don't know me po, ako po si Erwin. I'm the technical expert here in the Philippines. Ito po yung tsura ko, no? Medyo malabo yung picture. I have 4 years experience as quantity surveyor here. Actually, as a general and all-arounder in the field of construction. And I have 2 years experience using the TAS and the TRB softwares. I am also the service technical expert for our other 2 softwares, yung TBQ and also the TME software po. So just a few reminders po, no? Sa mga bagong pasok po, if you think that your mic is open, kindly mute it po, no? Para hindi po tayo makadisturbo sa iba. Also, we will be having a Q&A session, no? Q&A session, yung mga queries po pwede niyo itanong, but I cannot answer everything while I'm I'm discussing po. So ang gagawin natin is, if you have questions, you can park it in our chat box. Tapos babalikan ko po after the lesson. The third one, basically, we just want to respect others' opinions. Iba-iba po kasi yung mga participants dito. We have students, we have architects, we have engineers, we have construction professionals. So maybe their practices are different. So parang iba-iba po tayo, no? Even me, kahit ako po, baka iba po yung opinion ko versus sa opinion natin ng mga participants. So if there's something you think that you need para i-correct ako, feel free to chat me also. I would gladly learn. So ko po matuto rin sa inyo, no, sa mga practices nyo. And also we want to adjust or to adapt the software based on our clients or end users needs po. And lastly, I just want you guys to enjoy the training. So isang araw lang po ito, no? Hindi na po tayo tatagal pa. And I will try to teach as much information as possible po without giving you some a headache, no? So gawin nating mas madali yung training natin. Okay, so we have a good 84 participants, no? We have good 84 participants. I hope by the end of this seminar, around 5 p.m., 84 pa rin tayo. Because again, we will give you a quiz. And if you pass the quiz, we will give you the certificate. All right? Now, let me just go to the process flow. So, kung meron pong nakakatanda sa akin kapag nagpapa-quiz ako, okay, when I am discussing something, medyo binibigyan ko na sila ng hint, no? Kung ano yung lumalabas sa mga questions natin. So, this is the process flow of the TRB-C, no? We will create a project, okay? And then we will edit the project settings. So parang TAS rin po, we will edit the project settings. Tapos po, we will create a grid axis. Actually, the third one, we will skip. We will skip the third one po. Okay? We will proceed to the fourth one. We will do the modeling. So maglalagay po tayo ng rebar detail. And lastly, we will produce the quantity report or the report output po. All right? So, yun po yung process workflow. I'm not sure kung lalabas to. Baka lumabas. So, you might need to check this out, no? You might need to take note of this. Now, for our training arrangement, so again, it's only one day. It will be divided into 4 parts. So, the first part from 9 a.m. to 10:30, actually, we will be creating a project and editing the project settings. Okay, these two only. Now, yung drawing management po, I assume that every one of you here is knowledgeable in the drawing management. So, konting review lang po tayo. So, the drawing management consists of 5 steps, okay, plus the creation of axis. So, the first step is to add the drawing. Then we will delete the unnecessary drawings. Then we will scale the drawing. Then we will split and then relocate. So, yung 5 steps na po na yun. So, yung pag-relocate natin dun sa local axis na ginawa natin sa task. Okay, so don't worry because our process today is we will upload a task model, okay, or a cubic model, I mean, no? We will try to upload a cubic model. This cubic model right here or came from a task model. So kumbaga, hindi na tayo mag-start from the scratch. May model na tayo, lalagyan na lang po natin ng bakal. Alright? Now, sa second part naman po, before mag-lunch tayo, we will try to model the column. So I'll try to focus more, maybe 1 hour or 1 hour to 15 minutes for the columns and then mag-quick example lang po ako sa walls. Okay, so kasi po yung walls kasi, especially the RC and the walls with confinements, these elements are a bit procedural. Medyo mahaba po yung methods ng paggawa ng walls with confinements, especially mga shear wall or yung mga core walls natin, elevator walls. But for the purpose of learning siguro, I will give you a separate video po after this training if you want to know more about that. So gagawa po ako ng separate video. Siguro i-upload ko lang rin po dun kung saan ko po i-upload yung recordings natin ngayon. Now, for the third part sa afternoon po, we will try to model the beams and the slab. And lastly, we will try to model the staircase, the pile caps, and then we will generate the report before we have the quiz. So meron po tayong 15 minutes break sa around 3:30 to 3:45 para makapag-relax po muna kayo, to breathe in and then to take your afternoon coffee, I guess. But I will try to finish everything within the 5 p.m. po, or at least sa 5 p.m. mark mag-quiz po tayo. All right? And I just want to apologize in advance no kung mag-delay po tayo ng konti. I mean mag-extend po tayo ng konti no. I have this experience na kapag nag-TRB training po kasi there are a lot of questions no compared to the TAS because again it's a more technical aspect no of the Cubicost software. So I will try to answer all of your questions. I will try to clear everything for you guys. Pero kung hindi ko po ma-clear lahat, you can message me via Viber. So i-share ko po later on yung Viber account ko so that you can private message me po regarding your query. All right. So this will be our training arrangement for today. Now, before I proceed to the software no, I just want you guys to remind dun po sa mga hindi nakakagamit ng TRB software. I think there are few people here baka po hindi ma-open yung TRB software. First of all, the TRB software po needs or all the Cubicost software actually needs an independent graphics card. Okay, so if you're using a laptop, if you're using a desktop with Intel graphics card po siguro, we need a separate graphics card that has at least 1 gig of memory. Okay, of memory. Sa TAS po kasi the software is a bit forgiving kasi po medyo mas magaan yung TAS compared sa TRB. So minsan kahit Intel GPU lang nagagamit na yung TAS. But as per our product team, we require a separate graphics card on your part po. Now, kung nagkaka-error po kayo, follow these steps. No? Follow these steps. First of all, go to the device manager. So this is for people who's having error lang po. Go to the device management. So device manager, I mean. Now, under your device manager, please go to the display adapters and try to disable your GPU, no? Yung GPU natin na Intel graphics card. This is the weaker GPU. And I assume again that you have a separate graphics card po, independent graphics card. So we will try to direct yung stress from the TRB software to the Intel to the independent graphics card that we have. Kasi po ang tendency minsan is ginagamit ni software yung Intel UHD graphics. This is the weaker or the built-in graphics from your processor. So maybe you can turn this off para lumipat siya dun sa isa. Okay? Second, ayaw pa rin gumana. Try to go to your graphics card brand, no, yung settings. Mine, this is the NVIDIA graphics card. So ira-right click ko lang po yung screen and then NVIDIA control panel. And then try to go here sa image settings and preview and try to emphasize on performance po, no? Oops, sorry. Try to emphasize on performance on your part po. And also, under the Manage 3D, try to set yung preferred graphics processor nyo into your high-performance processor. Okay? Wag po natin gagamitin again yung integrated graphics card or yung Intel graphics card. Kasi po, ito po yung weaker card natin or weaker video card natin. Okay, so I'm not sure about the other brands, but I'm just thinking na parehas lang rin po yung process. Try to prioritize yung high-end graphics card natin. Okay. So lastly, if everything still fails, no, I will give you a connection guide. Okay, a connection guide. So just a moment. Uh-huh. Okay, connection error guide. So i-send ko po dito sa ating chat box. Okay, so might be si software po hindi makapag-connect from from our licensing network. So yung if you know yung licensing po kasi namin, ang nangyayari po diyan is the software will approve will approve if your email address has account. So pumupunta po kasi siya dun or kumo-connect siya sa cloud licensing namin. Tapos kino-confirm niya if yung email na to ay may TRB account po. Now, kapag meron pong errors in connection, especially kapag binablock po ng antivirus nyo or Windows Defender, you might need to try this connection error I sent in the chat box. And also, kung everything else fails po talaga, very unfortunate for you, you may reinstall the software. But before that, try to disable your antivirus po. Try to disable your antivirus. Okay? So ayun lang po no. That's the kumaga short reminder before we start po, before we start. Now yung mga meron po bang ibang hindi naka-login? Let me just check to. May nag-i-email pa. May nag-PPM pa, just a moment po. Okay, just a moment po no. Let me just check the other queries. Kindly give me mga 2 to 3 minutes lang po. Okay, sa mga hindi po nakapag-register, kung hindi makapag-login because wala daw pong account, I will try to reactivate your accounts. But also try to check rin po kung meron kayong na-receive na email mula sa spam folder po ng or sa spam or junk folder po natin, and try to set your own password po. So upon checking yung mga nasa chat box po, I think meron po kayong permission in using our TRB software po. So kindly try to reactivate the password, no? Yung password natin, try natin i-reactivate po dun sa spam or junk folder. Okay, so that's it po, no? Let me start the seminar para hindi po tayo ma-delay. Okay, so I would like you guys to open the TRB software. So i-open na po natin yung TRB software sa mga nakaka-open po. Try to double-click the icon of the TRB software dito po sa, oops, sorry, hindi pala ako naka-share. So dito po, no? Dito po, double-click lang natin or maybe right-click and open. So let's try to open the TRB software. And again, as promised, I will try to explain first yung basic user interface natin. The TRB software itself po before creating a new project. So, yung task certificate po natin will be sent to you within next week. So, hinihintay pa po namin from our certification team. So, yung mga nag-seminar po from August, no? Around August hanggang this September, this month, you will receive the certificate within next week po. Okay, so after you log in or open the TRB software, you will be going to this page, no, yung main startup page natin. And parehas lang po siya ng looks or ng complexion compared to the task software. Okay? So in the middle, you have this recent projects. So ito po, no, nasa middle natin, we have recent projects. Okay? Ayan. Now, these recent projects here, dito nyo po makikita yung mga pinaka-previous projects natin. No? I think there is 12 projects if I'm not mistaken. Magpapakita dito. Let's check. So, how do I check kung ilan projects po yung magpapakita? You can go here sa options. Okay? Go here sa options and then my mistake, it's 9 lang pala, no? So magpapakita po maximum is 9 projects. But you can set it your own, no? Kung gaano karami yung magpapakita. Maybe you just want just one project. Okay? And if you press okay, no? The next time you open your software po, isa lang yung magpapakitang project dito sa ating TRB software. So by default po, it's 9. Siyam po yung magpapakita. Now, on the left side of my screen, so we have this these commands right here para po mag-edit, mag-create, and mag-close ng master file natin, the TRB master file. So we have the button new, open, save, save as, and close. So pretty self-explanatory. Now, sa next button po will be the options. No? The options, if I press the option again, ito po yung mga settings regarding the TRB software itself. No? So if you have this preference on how to customize your own TRB, you may find it here. So yung pag-open ng files, yung auto-saving of the TRB software. So every 15 minutes po sa akin, nag-auto-save prompt si software. So kung medyo nakaka-distract, you can set it as maybe 60 minutes para hindi palaging nagpapakita yung auto-save prompt. Also, we have the backup folder right here. So every time you save your TRB master file, magke-create po siya ng separate copy. Okay, here on the backup path po. We also have these other settings as well, like the colors. Maybe you want to change the colors of the structure. We also have the hotkeys. So kung gusto mong palitan yung mga hotkeys natin, so these hotkeys right here are for turning on and turning off of layers. So kung gusto mong i-off yung column or i-off yung beam, you may press the hotkeys. Okay, so again, this is for layer management lang po. We have a separate hotkeys for the commands po, just like TAS. The drawing layer is just the if you want to to turn on and turn off a certain layer when you are modeling a certain element. So siguro explain ko na lang po later. There are other settings as well, no? For example, we have this drawing settings. So maybe gusto niyo pong mag-model just like in CAD software wherein you can input the distance and the angle. You may check this enable dynamic input. All right? Personally, we won't be turning this on kasi po meron na tayong model. May structure na po tayo. We will just put rebar information in our project right now po. Okay? Because again, I assume po na knowledgeable na po tayo in modeling in the TS software. And for the others, we have this other settings, no? Based on the, of course, the software interface. So gusto niyo po mas malaki yung pick size ng cursor nyo, you can edit this. You can also check and uncheck the settings you want to activate or deactivate. Okay. So I won't be tackling everything. So para po makapag-jump in na po tayo right away sa software. But if you have questions, no, kung paano gawin ito, gawin yan, here on the others, maybe you can you can message me na lang po sa chat or maybe sa Viber po after this seminar. Alright? So ayun po, no, this option right here, ito po yung options or settings on the actual TRB software. Okay, not the model, yung sa TRB software po natin. So sa ilalim po about. So about is just the version of the software and the legal notice. Okay. Now, on the right side of my screen, sa right side naman po tayo, you will notice na meron po tayong mga buttons right here. So the help will just direct you to the Glodon task help center, I mean. So para po siyang forum, just like TAS. If you press this, okay, if I press this, for example, pupunta po ako sa Glodon help center for TRB. So pwede niyo po i-search yung mga queries niyo dito. Okay? And also, we have this button right here, yung new feature. So what do you expect po dun sa pagbabago ng TRB software on the latest iteration? So ipapakita lang sa inyo ni software ano yung mga latest developments of your new software version. Now, e-learning. So for the e-learning naman po, we have this online training platform. So I'm not sure if you already registered on our online training platform, but you can actually learn our software sa aming website. No? Meron po kami mga tutorial doon. But I highly suggest, of course, na mas maganda kasi kung attend na lang kayo dito to learn. But maybe if ever ma-miss nyo some parts, number one, I will give you the recording. And number two, you can access our online training platform as well for free. Okay, so pipindutin nyo lang pong tong e-learning and you need to just create your own account for free po. Alright, so also meron tayong mga hot news here. So hot news, these are just other queries no that were raised by advanced users. So itong mga hot news po na to, these are kumbaga yung palaging tinatanong ng mga user namin and this might be helpful to you guys. Okay? So for example, based on our survey, meron usually ang tinatanong ng mga users namin, mga end users namin ay for example, how do we import TS model to TRB model? Okay? Or TRB software. So pipindutin niyo lang po ito and it will direct you to a website teaching you how to do it po. Okay? So that's pretty much it sa ating start menu. Before I go to the main user interface by creating a new project, let me just check my chat box kung meron po tayong queries. May mga katanungan po ba? Okay, kung wala pong katanungan, let's proceed to the core of the software. Okay? So, if I want to proceed to the main user interface, requirement lang po natin is to create a new project. Okay? So, again, hindi po tayo mag-model ng project. We will just create the master file for now para po makapasok tayo sa loob. Okay, so to do that, I'll just press the new button po. Okay? And then I will edit the project name. So kayo na pong bahala sa project name. Gusto niyo pong pangalan nyo or maybe your own name, no? Your own project name. Kayo na po bahala. Maybe ta-type ko na lang po siguro dito is TRB training. And then the date for today, it's September 18, no? Lapit na pala, mag-Christmas. September 18, napakabilis. And then for the calculation rules, we only have one calculation rules, Philippines. Okay, so just press confirm to proceed and to go to the main user interface or the main modeling interface po. Okay, so I will be waiting for you guys. Try to create your new project. And then if you land here in this location I'm into right now, kindly chat done. Okay, so done po sa chat box para po alam ko kung magpo-proceed na po ako. Salamat po. Okay, so I think nagawa na ng karamihan. First thing to do, let's try to explain. No, let's try to explain ano kaya yung meron dito. No, it looks the same. No, it looks the same, but actually marami pong pagbabago compared to TAS dito sa TRB because it's a rebar detailing software. Okay, so pupunta lang po ako sa ilalim. No, pupunta lang ako sa ilalim. I will draw on my screen and I will go here sa ilalim. No, and I always want to start, even in teaching the TES, I always want to start sa pinakailalim. We call this the modules, no? Modules. Okay? So modules, again, it's how we model or how we do the quantity takeoff as a QS. So parang the software mimics the procedure of the quantity surveyor in modeling a certain structure. Okay, so we have this one. The first one is modeling. The second one is single element. The third is BQ. And the fourth is report. Okay. We have 4 modules. Comparing to TAS, tatlo lang po yung modules natin. We have this one, the modeling, the BQ, and the report. Wala po tayong single element. Okay, wala po tayong single element sa TAS. So, ano po ba yung single element? No? Ano po ba yung single element? Ang single element po is this right here. It means that meron po kasing limitation si TRB software, no? In terms of rebar detailing. Okay. If you remember before, when we are modeling staircase, I'm not sure kung nasabi po ko po sa inyo, no? But I always said that staircase is a unique element, no? It's what we call a single element. Because the problem with staircase in the TS software is we cannot associate that element to the whole structure, no? Hindi natin kaya mag-finish ng staircase, no? Kapag nag-room finish tayo. Wala pong dumidikit na finishes. Okay? The Cubicost software fails to identify staircase as part of the structure. Okay? These are special structures. These are special elements po. We call it single elements. Okay? So, in the TRB software, ganun rin po yung case. Ganun rin po yung case sa TRB software. What we do here is we model the rebar of the stairs and other special structures independently on this module. Okay? So, yun po yung explanation. Now, modeling gets yun na po. This is where we model the structure. The BQ, okay? The BQ is where we form our bill of quantity, or we create our bill of quantity. This is not part of the training, even in TAS, because we have a separate software po, the TBQ software. Unfortunately, we are not doing public trainings for the TBQ software po, because hindi pa po nabibuild yung curriculum for that. Okay? Lastly, sa report. So yung report naman po, this is where we generate the quantity report and the analysis as well. So dito po tayo sa report. Okay, so maybe 98% of our time, very exage naman, maybe 90% of our time we will focus on the modeling. Tapos around 8% sa single element, we'll try to model the stairs here later on. Tapos mga 2% lang po sa report. No? I will just show you what is the report, what is the default report the software will provide after modeling. Okay, so ito po yung modules natin. Okay, so some questions. Kapag may green daw sa screen, graphics card po ba ang problem? Yes po, graphics card po ang problem. It means po na either hindi niyo po nagawa yung kaninang sinabi ko sa device manager, or wala po tayong independent graphics card. So kailangan po ni software ng independent graphics card. I don't see the attribute editor. If you can't see the attribute editor, okay. If you can see the attribute editor, press this button right here. Yung maliit lang po na button. This one. Like Tasi, until when magagamit ang TRB? If I'm not mistaken, magagamit niyo po siya within 3 weeks to 1 month if I'm not, kung hindi po ako nagkakamali. So I have to confirm it with my manager po. Okay, so let's proceed to the other parts of the software. Nasa taas po, it's the quick access toolbar, same as TAS. Just a shortcut, no? Shortcut for creating a project, opening, save, undoing, redoing, and calculating. So ito po yung mga shortcuts natin. Going down below, we have the function manager. Okay, we have the function manager. So these are kumaga, groupings, no? Based on the commands in the software. So in our function manager, we have 8 functions. Sa task po, I think it's 9 or 8 then, no? So something like that. So if I go to start, if I press the start, I'll just go back to the start menu. Okay, so yun lang po siya. Same as the AS. If I go to project settings, if you remember previously, we have 2 project settings. Now we have 9 project settings. Okay, so babalikan ko po itong project settings na ito. No? Babalikan ko itong project settings na ito because it's a bit lengthy. Let's go to the BIM model. So in BIM model naman po, this is where we upload a file coming from task. Okay, this is where we upload a file coming from task. So ano po yung procedure ng pag-upload? No? I will just give you a short short knowledge about the procedure. So let me just write on my screen. So from task to TRB, may certain procedure po tayo. Oops, TRB. May certain procedure po tayo. The file extension of task is .task, no? .tas. Minsan .tas3, no? Parang ganyan kapag version 3 po. Ang TRB naman is .trb2. File extension po yan, no? ng mga master files natin. If you want to upload or to convert the task model papunta sa TRB, we have to convert first the task to what we call .cubic, no? .cubic. Okay, .cubic means it's a cubic file. It's a file that is interoperable to the Cubicost software. So kung natatandaan niyo po, ang tawag sa softwares namin ay Cubicost dash then yung the software code, no? Cubicost task, Cubicost TRB, because they are in one software platform, the Cubicost platform. So pwede po natin i-convert yung task to cubic and then ipasa siya sa TRB. Ipabasa po yung .cubic. Okay? Tapos po, ma-generate siya as TRB file. And same goes with TRB. You can export it as cubic, ipabasa po sa task, and then import it po sa task software. So ganun lang po yung procedure natin. Now, paano po natin ginagawa yun? So you will notice here meron po tayo import and export model. So if I press the export model, pwede na ba ako mag-export? Kahit wala. I think bawal pa, no? Kasi wala pa tayong model. If you press the export model po, automatic po, i-convert na ni software sa cubic file yan. Okay? I-convert niya sa cubic file yan. If you press the import model naman, automatic po, pwede tayo magpasok ng cubic file dito sa TRB. Okay? Maybe coming from the task software. So that is the function of BIM model. If you want to communicate with tasks, okay, or the other Cubicost software inside the platform, pwede po natin import using the import model under the BIM model. So that is the function of BIM. Now, for the identify, so I want to pair it with draw. So same as the TAS. So identify is for the auto-identification purposes. Same function as TAS, but we will try to skip this because nakapag TAS na po tayo last time. Draw is where we draw a certain element or specify a rebar detail. So ito pong identify and draw, ito po yung gagamitin natin in modeling our rebar detailing. So dito po tayo most likely magja-jump, no, sa dalawang function na ito. Now, view. So view is just a viewing commands, no? So I won't be going to this function most all of the time kasi po meron na tayong viewing tools here sa gilid. So if you remember, dito po tayo nag-view, just like task. Tools are just for kumbaga, extra tools to help you or to guide you in the modeling. So meron tayong mga calculator, we have the distances, we have the rebar check. So pwede po natin ipa-check yung software kung nasan po yung kulang natin na rebar sa structure. So these are the tools. Lastly, sa quantity, so we have this calculation procedure, same as task. Just press calculate, tapos po magpapakita yung mga quantities natin. So we will try to calculate the rebar information later on po, no? Kapag nagmo-model na po tayo. Okay, so that is the function managers. So start is basically pupunta lang kayo sa start menu. Project settings is where we will edit the calculation of the software. So babalikan po natin ito kasi medyo mahaba-haba. The BIM model is where we upload or import yung cubic file natin. So cubic file is an extension common to all the Cubicost platforms. Identify and draw is where we model the structure or even the rebars. View is for viewing tool. Tool is for aided commands, no? For aided commands lang po ito. And quantity is for calculation. Now, sa bandang gitna, same idea as task, no? We have the element navigation bar. So everything here, ito po yung pwede natin i-model sa TRB. So you will notice compare sa TAS, mas konti na lang po siya. Okay? So if you cannot find yung gusto natin i-model, it means that the software isn't capable for now to model that structure. So pupunta po tayo sa single element mamaya. So remember what I said previously. Single element is the location or the module wherein we can associate elements that cannot be identified or cannot be interpreted by the software. So kung mga special scenarios po, dito tayo sa single element. Now, sa element list, same as task, dito po lalabas yung mga tags ng ating elements, maybe column. So meron tayong C1, C2, C3, etc. Now, yung attribute editor po, napapansin nyo sa task before, nandito. No? Oops, sorry, napindot ko yung pause. Napapansin nyo po, nandito sa ilalim. Okay? And then ngayon, wala na. It jumped here sa gilid because we need a bigger space for the attribute editor for the rebar information. So nilipat po namin dito. Okay, nilipat po namin dito sa side na ito. Now, lastly, nasan po yung drawing manager, no? Nasan po yung drawing manager? Kasi dati kasi sa task, nandito yung drawing manager, no? Saan ko po i-manage yung drawing ngayon? So, by default po sa TRB software, naka-turn off po siya. Nakatago siya. Okay? So, ang gagawin po natin is ganito. Pupunta tayo sa identify. Okay? And then, press the drawing manager po. Mapupunta po siya sa ilalim. So, if you want to use drawings, no? Rebar drawings or rebar details in CAD file siguro, in a CAD file format, pwede po natin i-upload dito sa drawing manager. But for this training, we won't be doing it, no? Wala po tayong gagamitin na plano. Okay? Kasi po, naka-model na yung structure natin, yung pinaka-backbone or pinaka-concrete works, naka-model na po. Lalagyan na lang natin mamaya ng bakal. Okay? So, we don't have to open the drawing manager po. So, you may retain it you may close it po if you open it kanina. Okay? So that's the part of the TRB software. And lastly, siguro, obviously, sa baba, meron tayong mga guiding tools. No? We have these guiding tools right here. So pwede tayo mag-orthogonal, mag-snapping, mag-random point, okay? Mag-intersection, etc. So nandito po yung guiding tools natin sa baba when we are to draw a structure. And meron rin po tayong mga procedures dito sa ilalim. So if you want to do a certain command, dito po tayo sa ilalim titingin for the steps or procedures. Right, so that is the general user interface for the TRB software. Before I proceed sa project settings, okay, kasi po in-skip ko siya. Do you have guys any questions, no? Any questions or clarifications po? Can you use again the halo cursor? Okay, hindi po makita yung cursor ko. Medyo malabo daw po yung cursor ko. Let me just check. Okay naman daw. I see, okay naman. Siguro I'll just use this, no, yung itong bilog na to, no, para makita niyo po kung nasa naka-position yung cursor ko. How to show attribute box? Okay na, natanong ko na answer ko na po ata to, no. How to show the attribute box? Dito po, no, dito po. Pindutin niyo lang po ito para mawala at sumulpot. Dito po. Okay, so okay, so I think we can proceed po, no? We can proceed. Let's go to the project settings. Dito po sa project settings. And I will explain to you ano po yung mga steps, yung mga project settings natin dito. We have 9. Imagine we have 9. And in the task software, we only have 2. Dalawang project setting lang po. So in the project settings, again, this is based on the ACI code. It's ACI 318-05. Okay, it's a 2005 ACI code. Most of you will be wondering, sobrang delay nung code, no? It's still a 2005 code. Wala pong problema yun because we can actually edit the values inside. And most of the time naman po kasi, in using the TRB software, we are referring to the general notes of the designer. Okay, we are referring to the general notes of the designer. So yun po yung procedures natin. We will input what the designer wants dun sa ating project settings para po yun po ang i-incorporate ni software. So for example, in some weird scenarios, wala pong general notes si structural. Ang ginagawa ni software is it assumes that the designer is using the minimum specification of ACI 318-05. Okay, so let's start first on the project information. Dito po. Ayan. So for the project information, same as TAS. Same as TAS lang po, no? If you want to input the informations or the preliminaries of the structure, you may do so. Pwede po natin i-type dito. Wala pong pagbabago sa structure kapag nag-input tayo ng values dito except 2 attributes, no? The first one is the anti-seismic rate. So we can set if the anti-seismic rate is seismic or non-seismic po. Okay? Seismic or non-seismic. What is the difference? Pag seismic po, seismic versus non-seismic, there's a difference between the lengths of the developments and the anchorages po. Mas mahaba po pag seismic. Also, iba po yung rebar details, yung rebar connection details ng some structures, the frame structures, if this is a seismic or a non-seismic. Okay, so ipapakita ko po sa inyo. So we will just use maybe seismic na lang, no? We'll just go to the default seismic. Now sa ilalim naman po, calculation rules. So for the calculation rules po, we can set this as Philippines kasi wala naman po tayong ibang choice. So no need to worry about this po. So these 2 informations right here, this will only affect the structure. And the other text, no, yung mga text natin dito, this one, the structure type, the foundation type, won't affect the quantity po. Don't worry. So that is the project information. Okay, how about the floor settings? How about the floor settings? If I press this, the floor settings is just the same as the TES software. So we have the zoning, the floor information, and instead of the grade settings, we have the rebar information. Okay, so bakit ano pong nangyari? Bakit nawala yung concrete grades, no? Nandito naman siya actually. Okay, but again, in the TRB software, we are not focused on these quantities, no, the volumes and the formworks. The software cannot calculate for that. The only calculation the software does is the rebar weight in kilograms po and the cutting lengths po. Yun lang po yung kaya i-process ni TRB software. We don't have to we don't have to take note of the floor heights po if we have an existing task model. Kasi po kapag nag-upload po tayo mamaya ng file or nag-open tayo ng file, automatic po i-adapt na ni software yung task height informations po, no? So kung meron kayong mga floor names and floor heights and bottom elevations, i-adapt na po kagad ni TRB yun based from the task model you uploaded. So no need to worry about this. Now, sa ilalim po, we have these rebar settings. So makita nyo napakarami. And these are the development lap settings and standard hooks of the software. Okay. We also have let's see, different kinds of laps. No, we have the grade A laps and we have the grade B laps. And you will notice po, it's a function of the diameter of the rebar. So for example, if my diameter is 12 mm, 10 mm for foundation grade 33, automatic ang magiging development length niya for compression is 120 mm. Tama ba? Yes, it's 120 mm. It's 12 times the bar diameter. Now, I know that this is not useful, no, for most of the scenarios kasi wala naman sigurong gumagamit ng function ng diameter. Maybe sa site, no, kapag nag-splice sila 40 or 50 times the bar diameter. But if you want to be accurate and if you want to input the designer's prescribed lengths, no, yung talagang values, we need to go here sa development and lab settings po. Dito po. So just press this and may magpapakita po, no, na table. It's another table. It's a bloody big table, masyadong maraming info. But basically, nilalatag lang po ni software yung mga values ng mga development and lap settings natin, ng lap values natin. Okay? So it is based on the function of the strength of the rebar, the yield strength of the rebar Fy, plus yung concrete grade natin na F prime C or FC prime, and also the bar diameter. So tatlong parameters po yan. It's the grade of the rebar, the concrete grade, and then the bar diameter. And you can find the formula dito po sa ilalim. Okay? So it's based on the code. The software will use, no, I think the minimum of the maximum of 2. So either this formula right here, or kung hindi niya na-meet yung standard na less than more than 300, gagamitin niya po ay 300. Okay, so again, I won't be diving deep on how the code calculates it. No, it's more of a design procedure. But if you want to do your modifications here, you can edit the modification factor. Tapos po, si software na lang yung mag-adjust nung calculations natin. But my guess is you won't be using this, no? You won't be using this because again, we have a preset quantities dun sa general notes na katabulate na po from the designer. So, ano po yung gagawin natin? So, ang gagawin na lang natin is to type the actual value. Okay? For example, I want to change the development length in tension based on the general notes. The first thing to do is find the rebar size. So, let's say it's diameter 12. Tapos po, ano yung concrete grade niya? No? So maybe it's 4,000 PSI. I-type nyo na lang po dito yung value. Just double click and then type the value. Maybe this is 320 mm. Okay, so hindi na tayo magka-calculate. Just type the value from the general notes po. And you can find, no, you can find all the lengths. We have the tension development. We have the tension lap length. We have the tension lap length in grade B. So it's just 30% more from the grade A. We have the LDH. We have the compression version of this lengths. Okay. And that's it, no? Ilalagay nyo lang po lahat, no? You just need to be knowledgeable if the certain length you want to input is functions as a development length. Is it functions for tension or for compression? So kailangan knowledgeable lang po tayo. Tapos hahanapin lang po natin kung saan sa table na to natin ilalagay yung mga values. Okay, so that is the process, no? That is the process in inputting the development lengths coming from the general notes. Now, we will be using the default values. Okay, so hindi na po natin papahirapan yung sarili natin. I will just use the default values po. Okay? Now, paano po kapag ganito yung scenario? Paano kapag ayoko kasi nung edit ako ng edit, no? For example, I know this designer's development lengths, no? And it's standard on most of his or her project. What I can do is I can export this development length settings. Okay? If I press this export, it will be on a savable file, no? So it is on a .als file po. So pwede natin gawing template, no? Kung nabago ko na po itong development and lap value, i-save ko na lang para mamaya pwede kong gamitin, or on other projects pwede kong gamitin. Let's say this will be our sample lengths. So sabihin ng sample lengths. And then just press save. Tapos meron na tayong settings, no? Settings that can be imported on other projects. Okay, so kung gusto ko naman po i-recycle, I will just import and then hanapin ko na lang yung file na ALS. Okay? Para po hindi na ako mag-edit isa-isa sa susunod na project. Okay, so that is the development and lab settings. Now, again guys, you don't have to follow with me, no? Kasi po hindi po natin babaguhin yung mga preset dito para po hindi tayo magkalituhan. But just for the video recording purposes, alam nyo na po kung saan po maglalagay ng development and lab settings based on the designer's prescribed values. Okay, so that is it, no? If I press OK, mag-apply po siya, no? Mag-apply po siya on this floor that we select. Remember, same as task. If you want to replicate those development and lab settings, you will copy to other floors. Okay, copy to other floors. Same as task. We will copy this development lengths we edited previously to other floors po para mag-apply sila sa lahat ng floors. Okay, para mag-apply sila sa lahat ng floors. Okay, so that is the second step, no? Or that is the second settings, the development and lab settings under the floor settings. So before I proceed, baka may katanungan po tayo regarding the development and lab settings. Is it possible to upload a different QS software sa TRB? Hindi po possible, but the process is you will upload it in TAS. You will convert it. If you have a BIM file, Revit, or IFC file, you will convert it to TAS. Saka po natin siya i-upload sa TRB. So sa TAS, in TAS po yung magiging gateway ng Cubicost softwares natin. TRB is also an RC design software. No, hindi po siya design software. Kaya po siya merong still strength is that the purpose of this is to, number one, para alam po ni software kung ano po yung magiging development lengths when the software automatically details the structure. Okay, that's number one. Number two, para po malaman ni software kung ano yung classification ng quantities in terms of rebar grade. So pwede po natin i-classify yung mga weight ng rebar in terms of the rebar grade. So kaya po natin siya sineset, no? Or yung mga values kaya natin is sineset based on the grade of the rebar or the strength of the rebar. Okay, so say for example, meron akong beam, no? So basically, if I have a beam, iba yung development length niya if the bar diameter is bigger, no? Kunyari, iba yung development length if the bar diameter is 25, iba rin ang development length if bar diameter is 20. So basically, the software will adjust for you. So kung ang length ng 20 is 1000 mm, pagdating sa 25, 12 mm na because naka-preset na po dito sa ating rebar settings. So hindi na po tayo maghahanap isa-isa just like doing the manual way po. Okay, so that's it po for the floor settings. Now, let's proceed to the calculation rules. So the third part po is the calculation rules. This is the heart of the software. This is the parang Philippine standard method of measurements. Okay, most of our new clients, they spend at least 3-4 hours just checking for this settings right here or these calculation rules right here just to check if the preset rebar detailing procedure of the software is the same as theirs. Okay? For us to utilize the TRB software, we need to be familiarized of its calculation rules, no? So of course, as a QS, hindi naman po tayo umaasa sa software na ipapasok lang yung structure tapos siya na yung magmo-model. We still need to be knowledgeable kung ano po yung practice niya for us to check and adjust. Now, if I go to calculation rules, we have all the rebar detailings prescribed by the software by default. It is based on the general notes of most of the contractors here in the Philippines. Okay, so it is divided into 8 categories pertaining to the elements or the main elements of our structure. So we have column, we have wall, we have beam, we have slab, we have foundation, ground beam, masonry structure, and others. So ganito po mag-detail si software automatically. If you press calculate, ganito po yung gagawin niya mga details. Alright? So, 2 things. Number 1, it doesn't necessarily mean na kapag ganito na po yung detail ni software, ay hindi na natin siya mababago. Okay? We're just presetting how the software's kumaga first assumption of the rebar details kasi po mamaya pwede pa natin siyang i-further edit. Okay? Pwede pa natin i-edit yung cutting list niya pero let's try to utilize the software first. Let's try to let the software model 70% of our task tapos i-edit na lang natin siya after. So this is the function of the calculation rules. Ipamodel po muna natin yung setup na gusto nating ipamodel sa kanya tapos i-edit na lang po natin siya mamaya kung may kailangan i-edit. Okay? Second, everything in the calculation rules in color green can be edited. Okay? Lahat po ng naka-green pwede nating i-edit. Obviously, I cannot explain everything here, no? But let's say for example, I want to know how the column connects from the beam. Paano po yung connection ni column sa beam? So we have actually a lot of scenarios, no? Kung yung column mo ba magta-terminate in the middle girder or in the middle girder or sa end or sa corner na girder, okay? We have a lot of scenarios. Yung column mo ba ay magta-terminate and magta-transition into a vertical element such as the walls, okay? Or yung column mo ba magta-terminate sa wala. There's no joint. So automatically, ganito po yung mga assumptions ni software. Kapag po nag-terminate yung beam natin, ay yung column natin sa beam, internal beam or middle beam, ang gagawin po ni software is i-extend niya po yung bakal sa depth ng beam na yon. Ima-minus niya po yung BHC or yung concrete cover. Tapos po maglalagay siya ng hook na value based on 12D. Now, kung ayaw niyo po itong mangyari or gusto niyo po i-edit, no? Simply double-click the value. Double-click the value. And then, edit the value po. Maybe gusto mo po ng 300 mm automatic hook. Pwede naman. Maybe gusto mong gamitin yung hook settings dun sa project settings. Pwede rin po. Just type A1. A1 means standard hook of 90 degrees. Okay? A1 means standard hook of 90 degrees. If you want to change the setup, no? If you want to change the setup, you can press this three-dotted button. Okay? Three-dotted button. Marami pa po tayong mga setup. Maybe you want anchorage length. Pwede rin po. I can choose the anchorage length. And this is present, okay? This is present on all connections of different elements or different concrete elements in the structure. Pag nag-calculate po tayo, automatic si software, ito na po yung assumption niya. So we don't have to detail the rebar, the connection manually. Okay? So titingnan lang natin, no? For example, yung column ko, okay? Magta-terminate siya sa pundasyon. So automatic, i-extend niya hanggang dulo, tapos po mag-hook siya ng 12D. Given na, of course, meron tayong concrete cover dito. Okay? If you want to edit it, just press this button, tapos edit nyo lang po yung values or yung setup na gusto nyo. Now, same goes with beam. Same goes with beam. If I go to beam, no? Paano po magse-set up si software ng mga extra bars, no? We know that beams have extra top, extra bottom bars. So, we don't have to calculate the length of those extra bars. I-preset na po natin kay software. If I go to rule number 3, okay, automatic po, ang naka-preset sa top bar niya is ln over 4. Okay? ln means clear span, no? Clear span of the column over 4. So siya na po yung magdi-divide, no? Siya na po yung magdi-divide sa span, tapos divided by 4, ilalagyan niya po ng top bar. Paano naman pag bottom bar? Same procedure. Lalagay niyo lang po yung distance of the bottom bar from the support. It's basically 1 over 7L most of the time. So it's 0.165 times the length of the span. Okay? Automatic po si software na yung magpe-preset ng length ng beam natin, ng beam bottom bars natin. So imagine that the software is trimming down those hassles of computing manually, no? Kung ilan yung length na lalabas kapag tinype ko sa formula na to sa ln over 4 or sa 165L. Because we are presetting everything, or we are letting the software know all of the rebar detailing assumptions we need, no? So nandito na po siya lahat. Also, let's go to the connection, no? For example, yung beam natin magko-connect sa column. We have this preset calculation rule wherein if our beam will terminate to the column, it will extend an anchorage length, tapos mag-a-add pa siya ng 15D or 15 times the bar diameter. Now, masyadong mahaba para sa akin. You can just change the values, no? Change the values based on what you want. Based on what you want. Okay, so there are a lot of assumptions here, no? There are a lot of kumbaga preliminary rebar detailing assumptions here that we want to set or to familiarize first. And I will give you this time after the training na po, no? So para po ma-explore nyo rin po ng mas maigi. But for now, ang gagawin lang natin is we'll use the default values. Of course, kapag na-edit nyo na, for example, lahat to, no? Na-edit po natin lahat, ayaw na natin balikan minsan. Gusto ko kapag na-edit ko na tong calculation rules na to, pwede ko rin to i-import and export using the export and import rule, no? So para hindi na ako, isang beses ko na lang siya i-edit, no? Tapos po, import-export ko na lang para hindi na tumagal yung pag-check ko one by one. Okay? So yun po, import and export rule. Lastly, before I answer your queries, sir, hindi ko po memorize yung mga support parameters, no? Yung mga codes hindi ko memorize. Ano ibig sabihin ng LN? Ano ibig sabihin ng LA? Or ano ibig sabihin ng D? How will I know these codes? So if you want to be familiarized about the codes of the software, I want you to go to the TRB Help Center. Dito po sa TRB Help Center, go to Start. Punta po tayo sa Start. Tapos punta po tayo sa TRB Help Center. Okay, pindot lang po natin. And then, just type lang po na yung word na operation brief. Okay, operation brief. Ipapakita po ni software lahat ng variables, lahat ng codes, no, na pwede nating gamitin. Okay? Ito na po, lahat ng codes na pwede nating gamitin. So I will paste it here. I will paste it in our chat box for your preliminary guide. Okay? For your guide po. Okay, so that is the calculation rules. These are the calculation rules. These are based on the general notes on the rebar detailings from most of our clients here in the Philippines. If you think na meron pang kulang, okay, for our value clients, we accept additional rules, no? So, nagbibigay po sila ng rules para po kahit paano maka-adapt kami sa needs nila. So, this is developing, no? This is ever developing based on our client needs. All right? So, that's it for the calculation rules. Do you have, guys, any questions? Baka may questions po kayo regarding the calculation rules before we proceed to the other project settings. Let me just check my chat box. Does it include safety factor, quantity overhead, cost allowance, tolerance? Can it be manually specified? We can specify the overall overhead and allowances on the wastage settings afterwards. It won't reflect on the values, pero pag nag-generate po tayo ng report, it will reflect there. Okay? So the reason behind is ayaw po natin i-mess up yung pinaka-rebar detailing or rebar calculation ni software when we view the quantities or when we view the rebar cutting list. So yung mga percentage po, i-apply natin dito, tapos po sa report na natin makikita directly. Okay? Regarding the cost, TRB software is not a parang cost solution. We have a separate software which is the TBQ. So if you want to specify or to adjust overhead cost, we might need to use the TBQ software to do that po. Or kung ayaw nyo naman po, you can use your own Excel file po, no, to adjust the cost manually outside the software. Once you already created project, can you still change the calculation rules and will create new quantities? Yes, we can change the rule whenever we want. Okay, so meron mga ibang practices ganito, no? Magmamodel muna sila, tapos magka-calculate sila, babasahin nila yung calculation, tapos kung ayaw po nila yung calculation, they will go to the calculation rules and edit it, and then recalculate it once again. Okay, there are pros and cons there. Ang pros there is, of course, you will save time, no? You will save time. Ang cons there is masyadong pabalik-balik. You have to check everything para lang ma-secure mo na tama yung assumption ni software. Also, kapag nag-edit ka ng cutting list, there's no going back. No, there's no going back. Kasi kapag ang process po kasi dito is if you model the rebars, okay? You model the rebars, you already preset the calculations. Tapos po, pinakita ni software yung rebar cutting list. Yung pinakita ni software na assumption na, yun na po yun, no? Kapag nagbago kayo ng maliit na bagay, kunyari, in-extend yung bakal or ni-replace or binago nyo yung location ng lapping, if i-fix po or ilalak po ni software yung structure nyo. Okay? Pag nilak ni software yung structure nyo, hindi nyo na po ma-apply, marire-apply yung calculation rules. Not unless you reset the ones you did manually. So babalik ulit tayo dun sa flow na yun. So for now, medyo nakakalito, no? Medyo nakakalito. But I will share it to you later on, no? The importance of changing the calculation rules first before modeling. Okay, mas maganda pong practice na basahin muna yung calculation rules and save it, no? Para pwede natin gamitin next time. Saka po tayo mag-rebar detail. Generally, it's not recommended, but it's possible. So any more questions po? Okay, kung wala na pong questions, let me just proceed no sa ating specific weight settings. Specific weight settings are just for rebar kilogram calculation. So basically, mga multiplier lang for the lengths para makuha natin yung weight ng rebar. So medyo standard na po ito. We don't have to change it. Link settings is where we define the link arrangement. Link arrangement po. Okay? So what are links, no? What's the term link? So link are shear reinforcements. They are stirrups, they are ties. And the legs are defined using this code right here. Okay, using this code right here, if I press number 4, the format is always vertical by horizontal. Okay? Vertical by horizontal. Nasa quiz po ito. Huwag kayong maingay, no? Pero nasa quiz po ito. Baka pagbilangin kayo ng links, no? Or pagbasahin kayo ng links. Remember, it's vertical by horizontal. Vertical, for example, 4 by 3. 4 vertical, 1, 2, 3, 4 by 3 horizontal. Okay, by 3 horizontal. 4 by 3. Now, yung calculation po niyan, naka-preset na rin sa software. Okay? If I press the formula, nandito na po yung calculation ng links, no? And you don't have to edit this. Okay, basically ang ginagawa lang ni software is it finds the length of the link or the stirrups based on the dimension of that element minus the concrete cover. Okay, so parang nagko-compute lang tayo dati no ng mga stirrups manually. Kukunin natin yung dimension ng element minus concrete cover tapos pag-a-addin lang po natin yung mga sides or mga dimensions na yun to form an enclosed link. Of course, with hook as well, no? So naka-hook na automatic siya na 135 degrees. Okay? So that is the link settings. Very basic. Now, bend and hook settings. Bend and hook settings. So this bend and hook settings right here is the hook settings for non-seismic elements. The shear reinforcements, no? Yung mga stirrups natin, ito po yung mga hook na gagamitin ni software. Okay? For example, if the software detects 135-degree hook, automatic po gagamitin niya itong value na to. At diameter 10, it's 17.8 times the bar diameter. And if you guess it right, you can also set the hooks manually here in the table. I-type nyo lang po yung quantity ng hook ninyo. Okay? Let's say ang hook mo is 240 mm. I-type nyo lang po yung hook dito. Okay? Type nyo lang yung hook dito. Now, ano po yung close link, ano yung open link, ano yung torsional link? Close link is something that looks like this. Open link is something like this. And torsional link is something like this. Okay? So, we don't usually use the open and torsional link. So I suggest for beginner users, tingin lang po tayo sa close link para doon tayo sa basic. Okay? Now, one reminder po. Dito po palagi nagkakamali yung mga beginner users. In the bend and hook settings, the values are considered as 2 counts na po. 2 counts na po. So for example, if I have a link or a stirrups with 2 hooks, automatic po, kukunin niya na yung value dito pertaining to those 2 hooks. No? Hindi na po niya ita times 2. Okay? Why? Bakit po ganon? Number 1, the minimum values here are already twice, no? Or already multiplied by 2. If you check the ACI code, if I'm not mistaken, okay? If you check the ACI code, ang minimum po ni software is somewhere between parang 7 to 9. Something like that. It's a base of bar diameter, 7 to 9 times the bar diameter. Okay, this is the minimum. So kung i-check nyo po, kapag times 2 nyo yan, at dito po kayo mag-a-arrive sa values dito. Okay? So times 2 na po siya. Now, may mga questions, no? May mga questions na nagtatanong minsan, sir, paano kapag iba yung hooks bend ng isang link namin? For example, meron akong hook or meron akong ties na ganito po itsura yun, no? Ganyan. Isang 135, isang 90. Okay, isang 135, isang 90. Sir, sinabi nyo, parehas po or times 2 na po kaagad yung hooks natin. Ano po yung gagawin natin? Now, we already raised this to the product team. No? Unfortunately, kasi hindi po natin kaya yung ganito, no? Yung double hook. Now, what we can do is, there are two ways. We can edit the actual rebar length on the cutting list the software will provide. Or, I suggest siguro, i-average nyo na lang po yung 90 and 135 and put it in the cell. Okay? Or i-add nyo na lang po, I mean yung values ng 90 and 135 and put it in the 135-degree cell po. Kasi automatically si software ang ginagamit niya ay 135 degrees by default. Okay? So that is the bend and hook settings. So I hope that we're clear here, no? Next is the lap settings. If I press the lap settings po, this is where we can specify if our rebar connection is spliced or with mechanical couplers. Okay? Ano po yung difference niyan? The splicing, obviously, we will have a longer rebar, means bigger weight, no? Meron tayong additional kilograms. Okay? And also, it will affect the location of your splicing. So make sure that you specify if we have a mechanical coupler in our structure po. So ipapakita lang natin or i-specify lang natin by clicking here. Set what kind of lapping your rebar is. Okay? On a certain structure. So we will just use a normal lapping. Normal lapping lang po tayo. Lastly, second to the last, tension and compression settings. Tension and compression settings. So this is basically parang design parameters po kasi ito, no. So the software will automatically assume, no, a development and length parameter for you, no. For example, column, no. For example, column. So by default po ang gagamitin ni software is the bigger one, the tension one. Assuming that your column has eccentricity. So hindi niya alam kung saan yung side ng tension or compression. Gamitin niya lang na development length or lap length maybe is tension, no? Tension. Now, if you know that your column is just carrying an axial load, so basically compression lang siya, you may use the compression para makatipid po sa bakal. Okay? So parang naka-preset na po kay software anong klaseng development length ang gagamitin niya. Is it tension? Is it compression? And by default po, si software gagamitin niya yung mas malaki and gagamit lang siya ng compression kung it's logical to use compression. Okay? So yun po ang tension and compression settings. We will also use the default values here. And lastly, the wastage settings. The wastage settings are just parameters for wastage and allowances. Okay, so you can specify, press nyo lang pong Philippine wastage template and then just type the values. No, maybe 10% allowance. No, you can just type the allowance here po para pag nag-generate tayo ng report, lalabas na po yung wastage allowance. Okay, so there's a lot of info on the project settings. For this TRB software, I don't want to be specific on what we will use. No, we will use the default. No, I will be a bit lenient because po, of course, we are basic users. No, we are basic users. So that's it po for the project settings. Before I proceed to the actual modeling, so magmo-model na po tayo ng column. Okay, magmo-model na tayo ng column. I will first ask kung meron kayong questions, no, regarding the calculation rules po. Okay? So tingnan ko lang po yung aking chat box. We will send you the recording. Okay? We will send you the recording po. Don't worry. Yung stirrups, yung open stirrups po ba, sila yung mga type ng stirrups na negligible ang torsion? I'm not sure about that actually, no? Open stirrups. I think if I'm not mistaken, ang torsion kasi, ang nagke-carry is this one. No, I'm not expert po in design, pero I think tama ba? No, no, it's shear ata. Shear po ata yung nagki-carry yung legs. I'm not sure. You can consult it to a structure designer. So baka po maling info kasi yung mabigay ko. So you can consult your structural designer regarding the open links po. Sa wastage po ba default yung 10? Thank you po. No po, hindi po default yung 10. You can just type, no? Maybe gusto niyo po 8, no? Or maybe 12, no? Per diameter. Kayo po bahala sa wastage, no? It will depend on the practice of your site. Okay? So kung alam nyo na comparing to bidding weight to the construction rebar weight, may difference po kasi yan, no? In the bidding process, I mean, in the construction process, of course, it's a developing part of a certain contractor, no? Tinatansya nila, of course, ano yung wastage na nakukuha nila sa site versus siguro when they bid, no? And usually, they arrive in this certain percentage when comparing these different weights, no? So maybe napapansin nila on most of your projects or on most of their projects, mga around 15% yung nakukuha nilang wastage in terms of estimate, no? So, dito po natin ilalagay yun. So, you have the freedom to edit the values whatever you want po. Okay? Based on your assumed waste po. For bidding, wastage should be incorporated in their unit cost. Yes po, wastage should be incorporated on the unit cost because you are assuming that in any site condition, you're able to meet the expectation of the client to generate the or to do the erection, no, regardless kung anong klaseng site condition. So yung wastage po is nakadepende sa inyo. Yung closed stirrup usually po yung may significant torsion. Napaisip lang bakit may hiwalay na torsion instead consider it in open and close. Okay, I'm not sure about that as well, no. I will ask the product team regarding dun sa torsional. But basically we are specifying based on the setup. Okay, so we will just use those terms, the open, the close, and the torsional based on the setup of the links. Okay, so maybe we will just disregard the other two and we will use the close po as our standard link. Okay, so yung close lang po. Ito lang po. Okay, wala pong problema. Any more questions? Okay, kung wala na pong questions, I think we can proceed. I think we are on time, no? Buti naman. I was medyo kabado ako, no, when always when doing the TRB training, baka kasi nade-delay na ako. We will proceed to the column. So we will try to explain how we model the rebar in the software using the syntaxes that we will be using, using the syntaxes that we will be typing. Okay, so we will try first to model the column. Now, we already gave you the training materials po, no? We already gave you the training materials. Meron na po doon TRB file. So, siguro after this training, ipapakita ko na lang po paano mag-convert ng cubic file. Pero right now po kasi meron na tayong TRB file na pwede natin lagyan ng bakal. So to open that, punta lang po tayo sa start again. Okay? And let's use the open button. Buksan po natin yung TRB file na nakalagay, no, sa ating training material. Now, ito po itsura nun, no? So if you open the training materials, please open the training file, no? .trb2 file po. .trb2 file. Just open it and press open. Save current project? No. Don't save the current project. Just open another file lang po. So this TRB2 file is already modeled in the task, no? Kinonvert lang siya into TRB. Now, this is very important, no? This is very important. Please make sure that you don't lock the quantities. Okay? Press no. Press no. Okay, press no. If the software asks you to lock, press no. I will explain later why. Okay. So ayan po. Meron na po tayong file, no? So if I go to columns, actually makikita niyo na yung mga columns natin. Okay, so ito po yung training file natin. Okay, I will share it to you here also on the chat box. Okay, i-share ko po dito sa chat box natin and para po hindi niyo nahanapin. Okay, just a moment. Desktop, TRB, training materials, and training. So you can download the training materials I sent, the training file I sent to you dito po sa chat box para yun na po yung directly upload nyo kung hindi nyo po mahanap. Alright? I will wait for you guys, no? Hintayin ko po kayo. I'll just take a 1 minute CR lang po. I will wait for you and then if you're done, kindly chat done sa ating chat box so that we can proceed sa modeling. Okay? Maraming salamat po. Okay, so let's see, no? I accidentally press yes to prompt lock. What should I do to unlock? Kung na-press niyo po yung lock, okay, kung na-press niyo po yung lock, this is what you will do. Under the draw, go here, no? Press this one and then press batch unlock. We will batch unlock the structure. Tapos hanapin niyo lang po yung mga nakalock na element. So ano po ba yung lock unlock na yan, no? What is this lock unlock? Pag naka-unlock po yung element, pwede po nating baguhin yung bakal at i-recalculate. Pag nakalock po yung element, hindi po pwede po natin baguhin yung bakal pero hindi po i-calculate ni software for security or for for security purposes po. Okay, so make sure that you unlock the element para po mabago natin yung bakal. Sir, paano palabasin yung attribute editor? Dito po sa gilid, attribute editor. Ito pong button na maliit na ito. Okay, so if you're done, kindly click on column. Click nyo po yung column, magpapakita po yung structure natin. And you know the procedure in viewing the structure, no? Meron po tayong dynamic view to view the 3D of the structure. Remember lang po guys, no? If you upload a file from TAS, it doesn't necessarily mean magpapakita lahat. Okay? So kapag nag-upload kayo ng TAS na file, hindi po magpapakita yung finishes, hindi po magpapakita yung roofing, hindi po magpapakita yung steel structure, hindi rin po magpapakita yung excavation. The only thing the software will show you are the concrete elements kasi po magbabaka lang po tayo dito. So all the concrete and masonry elements will show po dito. Right? So yun lang po, just a disclaimer, baka po kasi magtaka kayo in the near future na hindi nagpakita lahat. Okay, so once you upload the TRB file, no, or once you open the TRB file, let me just give you a short idea what we will do. Now, what we will do. One of the participants here told me before, or asked me before, kung okay lang po ba mag-model muna ako and then saka ko baguhin yung project settings. Okay? So, unahin ko muna yung project settings. Unahin ko muna yung modeling, tapos baguhin ko na lang yung project settings if ever. That is possible, but I don't recommend it, but it's possible po. It's possible. Now, ano po ba yung modeling workflow natin for the TRB software. So number one, we will edit first the project settings. So assuming that we edit the project settings, I will just make it initial na lang, project settings, PS. We will edit the project settings. Next, we will do the modeling. No, we will do the modeling. So what do I mean by modeling? We will input the rebar info. Okay, we will input the rebar info. Hindi po tayo magdi-detail, no? We won't do the detail here. Okay, we won't do the detail here. Ano pong ibig sabihin ko? Kapag nag-input tayo ng rebar information, the software will automatically detail. So automatic po 'yan based on the project settings. Based on the project settings. Dun po sa calculation rule na pinakita ko kanina, yung marami pong values in color green. Dun po siya magbe-base. After we input the rebar info, gagawin po natin is we will we will calculate the value. Okay, calculate. And after calculation po, And after calculation po, ang mangyayari is, ika-calculate ni software yung mga bakal based on the rebar info na binigay natin and the software's assumption in the project settings. So, kung na-edit nyo po initially yung project settings, okay? Kung na-edit nyo initially yung project settings, wala na tayong problema. If ever po na may in-edit tayo sa project settings, no? Kunyari, may nakalimutan tayo, we will go back to editing the project settings again, no? So, project settings, edit ulit, no? And then go to calculation ulit. Okay? Calculation ulit para mabago. Now, this is the tricky part. I said it before that we can edit the rebar layout. The rebar layout, no? Pwede natin i-edit yung rebar layout. Pwede natin palitan yung cutting list, no? Gusto natin yung talagang exact setup based sa site, no? Na hindi kayang i-replicate or hindi kaya i-set sa project settings, no? Gusto ko ganito kahabang bakal talaga. Gusto ko this location of splicing talaga. What we will do is after calculation, punta ako sa baba, after calculation, we will edit the rebar cutting list, no? Edit the cutting list. We will edit the actual cutting list. Now remember, if you edit the cutting list, the structure will be locked. Malalock po yan. Okay, malalock siya. Lock. Bakit po siya nalalock, no? The reason behind is, inedit na po kasi natin yung bakal manually. So, the software is assuming that you want to bypass the project settings you did previously. Kasi may gusto ka talagang specific setup na gusto mong i-implement sa ating structure. May specific setup ka na gusto i-implement. So parang ginawa mo lang is you let the software model first or do the rebar detailing first. So parang yung effort mostly nasa kanya, tas babaguhin mo na lang by editing the cutting list. Okay? So malalak po yan. So sinasabi niya na, okay, eto inedit mo, hindi ko na to gagalawin. Kasi alam kong very delicate to, no? Very delikado. Okay? Delikado kapag binago ko ulit. So ilalak niya po. Okay? And if this rebar setup is already been locked, okay? Kahit i-calculate po natin, no? Hindi niya i-calculate kasi alam niya nga po na may specific standard kang pinasok or may specific setup kang pinasok. Now, for example, gusto kong baguhin yung hook to. Or may gusto kong baguhin dun sa project sa project settings ko pero nakalock na kasi inedit ko na yung cutting list. Ang mangyayari po is, unfortunately, you need to unlock first. Unlock muna natin. Pero this is the tricky part. Kapag in-unlock nyo yan, lahat po ng inedit nyo sa project settings, sa cutting list, mawawala. Lahat ng movement ng bakal na ginawa nyo or changing of the rebar, mawawala po yan. Okay? Pag na-unlock na po, available na po ulit si software, mag-edit ng project settings. Saka nyo po i-calculate. Okay? Pag na-calculate nyo ulit, i-edit nyo ulit yung cutting list, magla-lock ulit si software. Okay, so this is the workflow, no? This is the modeling workflow of the software. Please remember, like, to disengage, no, the methods of modeling of the software to your method of modeling. Okay, the method of modeling of the software is based on the project settings. But once you edit the rebars from the cutting list, hindi niya nasusundin yung project settings, susundin niya na po yung gusto niyong mangyari sa pag-edit ng cutting lists. That's why there's a tendency of the software to lock the model para po i-protect yung inedit nyo sa cutting list. Okay? So medyo magulo, no? Medyo magulo, medyo nakakalito, but as we go along, no, with the modeling, don't worry po, ipapakita ko sa inyo or ipapaintindi ko sa inyo ano po yung mga nangyayari. All right? So if you need to print screen this, no, if you need to snip this, you may snip it now po para lang magkaroon tayo ng overview, no, sa mga gagawin natin. Okay, so may clarification po ba dun sa sinabi ko? Is everything clear naman po? Okay, so kung wala naman pong question, no, or kung medyo nakakalito rin, kasi nakakaya naman mag-yes kung medyo nalito, maybe we can do the actual modeling, okay? Or we can do the actual rebar information. Okay, so i-close ko lang po ito. No? Let's try to proceed with the columns. Try natin to proceed with the columns. Okay, so model tayo ng column. For this example, I will be modeling one only. Isa lang po yung model natin. Okay, choose the column you want to model. Okay, select nyo lang, no? I want to model this column right here. Left click. Okay, left click nyo lang po. And lagyan na natin ng bakal. Okay, lagyan na natin ng bakal. We have two ways on how to input the rebar information. We have the manual way and we have the Excel way. If we use the manual way, isa-isain po natin bawat column. If we use the Excel way, upload lang tayo ng Excel, lahat na po ng column magkakabakal as long as it's a regular shape. Okay? So, for this procedure, no, ako po muna ang gagawa nung pag-edit ng rebar info. Tapos po, bigyan ko kayo ng oras, no? Bigyan ko kayo ng oras po. So, to edit the rebar info of this column, select the column first. Okay, select the column and then go to the attribute editor. Go to the attribute editor. Now, meron lang po akong info na papalitan dito, no? I will change the link, the main bar, and the leg. These three informations right here. Ito lang po muna ipapalit ko. And this three is enough actually. Okay? So, how do I input the main bars? How do I input the vertical bars? So, to input the vertical bars, you need to apply the proper syntax, no? Yung proper language ni software. Dapat pag tinype ko to, maintindihan ni software. Very basic po ang syntax sa TRB. First is to type the bar number. So ilang pirasong bakal? 4 pieces, for example, vertical bars. Then type letter A. Okay, letter A. We will type letter A next. This letter will be a representation of the bar diameter sign. Okay, letter A. Next is type the actual bar diameter, 25. Okay, 4 pieces, diameter 25. And that's it. Okay? If I press enter, that's it. Kita niyo po, may bakal na kagad sa ilalim, 4 pieces, diameter 25. Very easy. Si software na bahala sa lapping mamaya, si software na bahala sa connection, sa hooks mamaya. Basta tinype niyo yung 4825, magkakaroon ng bakal sa column niyo. Very easy. Okay, so yun po muna, main bars. Next, before you do the practice, let me type the links or the ties, okay, or the ties. Now, for the ties, meron po tayong sinusunod na syntax pa, no? Another syntax, no? Type letter A, okay? Type letter A first. A represents the bar diameter sign, just like this one, just like this one. A represents the bar diameter sign, and then type the actual bar diameter. Maybe 10, diameter 10, okay? Then type dash, dash po, or hyphen. Tapos spacing, let's say 300. It means that you will be applying a link or a tie that is diameter 10, space at 300, all throughout the clear span of the column. Okay? So basic po muna tayo. Wala po muna tayo mga densification sa top and sa bottom support. Just all throughout the span lang po. Lalagay tayo ng links. And if you press enter, again, A10-300. If you press enter, meron na po tayong links dito. Okay? Meron na po tayong links dito. Very easy. Okay? Yun lang po itatype natin, tapos si software na bala sa calculation mamaya. No? Based on the project settings. Last, legs. No? Ano po yung legs? No? So legs daw ng stirrups. How many legs? 1, 2, 3, 4. By default po, papaikutan lang ni software yung column. Paano po pag gusto kong maraming legs? Okay? Paano po pag gusto kong maraming legs? So, try natin ganito, no? I will change my main bar into 6 pieces, no? If I change this to 6 pieces, automatic po, mapapansin nyo sa ilalim, magkakaroon ng bakal. No? Magkakaroon ng bakal sa gitna. Automatic na po si software nag-a-arrange ng bakal para sa atin. The software is preserving the what do you call this? Yung centroid ng column natin. Kaya symmetrical po yung column natin palagi. Okay? Now, for the legs, gusto ko magkaroon ng bakal po dito sa gitna, no? Ng hook ay ng tie sa gitna. Okay? Kasi po, ang tie natin, itong palibot lang, I want meron rin akong tie sa gitna. So we need to define the leg. Dito po, the legs. Kung natatandaan niyo po, vertical by horizontal. Vertical by horizontal. 3 by 2. Ayun, meron na akong leg sa gitna. Alright? So yun lang po yung practice natin. Napakadali and may column na po tayo. Okay, so I will give you guys time to type these values. Kung natatandaan niyo po, it's 6,825. The links right here is A10-300. And the legs is 3 by 2. Kindly type this on your C1. Okay, select C1 and then type this value indicated. And if you are done, kindly chat done sa ating chat box for me to proceed. Kung meron po kayong questions, please raise it in our chat. Okay, maraming salamat po. Okay, pag nag-open po ako ng attribute editor, nako-consume niya po yung lahat ng screen. Okay, so parang ganito po yung nag-itsura, no? Sir, nag-open ako ng attribute editor, ganito po yung itsura. Ganyang kalaki, no? Hindi ko makita yung drawing. Just double-click, no? The column you want to edit. Maybe C1. Double-click again po. Babalik po siya dun sa maliit. So, it means that nada-double-click po kasi natin yung column or yung tag. Lumalaki po yung attribute editor. Okay? Meron din po bang kagaya ng task na mag-upload ng spreadsheet? Yes po, meron po tayong way kung paano mag-upload ng spreadsheet mamaya po. Para hindi na tayo magta-type isa-isa ng bakal. But for now, let me just explain to you the basics of manual detailing po muna. Alright, so kindly copy first these 3 informations and then just chat done if you want me to proceed na po. Ito pong 3 lang. Make sure na nagre-reflect yung bakal sa ilalim. Hindi ko po makita yung attribute editor na maliit. Ito po ba? Ito po ba? Hindi natin makita. It should be here po, no? Ito lang po kasi yung button natin to open the attribute editor. So ito pong maliit na to. Sir, nawala po yung attribute po, editor, kapag kinlik yung C1. Nawala yung attribute editor. Press this one po. Pag nawawala, press this one po. Hindi po na-reflect ang leg sa akin. Pag hindi po nag-reflect ang leg sa inyo, ibig sabihin po kulang kayo ng bakal. Okay, kung 4 lang po yung bakal natin, wala siyang mapaglagyan ng leg sa gitna. So you need to specify your main bar into 6 pieces instead of 4 po. Sir, ano po yung nawala na attribute editor? Na close, maybe. If you close it, just press it here para mag-open po. Alright, so may problema po ba? Madali lang po, no? Tinype lang natin. How about the others na gawa po ba natin? Okay, so nagawa natin. Madali lang, no? So again, just to make a point, no, dun sa sinabi kong chart kanina, we are not doing the rebar detailing, no? We're just inputting the rebar information. Okay? And the software will do the detailing, the actual detailing. How about pag bundled ang vertical bars? Mamaya po itatype ko yung igagawin natin yung mga other scenarios like bundling po. So we can do it. We can actually model further the rebar in our column mamaya po. Pero sa link po, paano i-type? Sa link, ang tatype po natin is, type natin here, A10-300. Diameter 10-300. Yun po yung tatype natin sa links. Now, let me just proceed, no? Pag nawala po kayo, hindi nyo alam kung ano yung tatype nyo, click the cell of the info you want to type in, no? Click the cell, tapos pindutin nyo po ito. The software will give you the input format or the syntax. Marami po tayong syntax, but I'm teaching you the basic one. Okay? Just input the syntax po. So meron tayong mga syntax dito. For the links, select the cell, tapos press this button again. No? Press this button, tapos input the syntax based on this window right here. So may guide na po tayo. Okay, so ang tinuro ko lang po yung basic. Okay, yung basic lang po yung tinuro ko. Default po ba yung letter A sa diameter? Yes po, default po yung letter A kasi po, dati po may bar diameter, kaya lang nahirapan yung mga users na mag-146 ata or alt-146 para lang ma-type yung bar diameter. And the letter A is, actually that sign is dependent on the country. Kapag China, letter T ata. Sa China or sa Malaysia, letter T ata yung sign nila. So it depends po. Consider po ba yung vertical bar sa may cranking or straight rebar? Kaya po ni software mag-crank ng rebar. Babaliin niya po mismo yung rebar. Ipapakita ko mamaya sa beams. How about hindi po symmetrical? We will edit the rebar later on kapag ayaw po natin yung formatting ni software. Kaya po natin i-edit siya ng mabilisan. May error po ako sa main bars. Please input the correct rebar information. Again, type the number A25. Okay, kapag mali po yung bar diameter, let's say gawin kong 26, mag-error po si software. Make sure that tama po yung bar diameter. So here in the Philippines, we only have diameter 10, 12, 16, 20, 25, 28, 32, and so on. Okay, so that rebar diameter lang po ang pwede natin i-type. Okay, so that's it, no? Thank you for your first example. Nagawa niyo na po. Maraming salamat. Let's proceed in calculation. Okay, so remember po, basic lang yung ginawa natin. We will further it. I will edit it further. No? I just want to show you ano po yung product ni software. I just want to show you ano po yung product ni software after inputting this basic information. We need to quantify this column. So select the column and go to quantity, calculate selected entity. So very reminiscent sa task, meron po tayong calculate selected entity. And in 1 second, the software will calculate the quantity of our selected column. So calculate nyo lang po muna. Select quantity and calculate selected entity. Now, ipapakita ko lang po sa inyo dalawang bagay. No? Dalawang bagay lang po muna ipapakita ko sa inyo. Rebar 3D and edit rebar. What are those two? Rebar 3D, select the column and press rebar 3D. Papakita niya po yung bakal in 3D view po. In dynamic view. Ayun, may bakal na tayo. So, we have this main bar right here. Tapos po, naka-hook siya sa dulo because wala pong joint na nakita si software. Tapos, naka-anchorage siya sa ilalim. Kasi yun po yung assumption ni software sa project settings. So, wala po tayong dinetail. Si software na po ang bahala. Now, I want to view the calculation. Okay? So, while you are on rebar 3D, select edit rebar. Select edit rebar. And may calculation na po si software. Okay? If you press number 1, i-highlight po ni software kung saan niya nahanap yung bakal. Okay? So the first rebar is the top bar po. Top bar po ang rebar natin. Obviously, in column, we splice in the middle. So automatic po kasi si software, by default, nag-splice siya doon sa middle span ng column. Okay? So we can edit the splicing later on po kapag nag-cutting list na tayo. But for now, ito lang po muna yung calculation ni software. You can select the other rebar as well. I-highlight nyo po yung calculation and the length. Select nyo po yung number 3, papakita niya yung stirrups. Select number 4, papakita niya yung single-legged ties. Okay, so this is the basic of the Cubicost TRB. Model the rebar, input the attribute editor, calculate, and check for the rebar detailing and the quantity of the software. Okay, so mamaya na nating i-edit yung cutting list kung gusto nyo talaga pong i-edit talaga yung actual lengths. Alright, so let me just give you guys few minutes, no? Siguro mga 2 to 3 minutes. Calculate, view the rebar 3D, and edit rebar. Let's see if parehas po tayo ng itsura ng ating bakal. No corresponding results is found when I press the rebar 3D. It means that you haven't calculated it yet. So please calculate first. Select the column. Okay, ulitin ko lang po yung process, no? Select the column. Oops. Select the column. Select quantity. Calculate selected entity. Okay, after you calculate, simple lang po. Select the column again. Rebar 3D. Then tilt your column. So ito po itsura ng column natin. And then, yung computation po nasa ilalim kapag pinrest nyo po yung edit rebar. Okay, so yun po. Sir, bakit naka-red po yung ibang font? Okay, bakit naka-red po yung ibang font? Sa length, no? O nga, no? Bakit naka-red yung ibang font sa length? Actually, I'm not sure no kung bakit naka-red yung ibang font. Let me check po. No? Apologies, I'm not familiar. There are times where nagre-red po yung font, okay, yung color. It means that minsan, no, for longer span na bakal, no, let's say more than 12 meters, sinasabi ni software hindi niya kayang i-produce yung bakal kasi sobrang haba, no? It's above the commercial length. It's above the commercial length. So nire-red niya. For this one, I still need to confirm this now. I'm sorry, but I'm not familiar. I'm not familiar po. Okay, so let me get back to you regarding this po. How to hide other structure for the meantime, such as wall. Select this display cross entity. Unselect this po. Unselect the display cross entity para ma-hide natin yung mga ibang rebar. Sir, no corresponding rebar. Again, kapag po no corresponding rebar, you have to take note these two things. Number 1, kailangan po meron tayo naka-top type dito sa column na to. No? Number 2, kapag nag-select tayo ng column, yun po yung i-calculate natin. No? Select the column and then calculate selected entity. Number 3 po, pag nag-rebar 3D tayo, make sure to select the column with rebar. Kasi po, pag sinelect natin ibang column na walang rebar, no corresponding rebar po. So, iselect po natin yung actual column, this one. No? Select this, dun po magpapakita yung rebar kapag nakapag-calculate po tayo successfully. Okay, so that's it po for our first very basic example. So, try to master, try to familiarize with the workflow. Ganito po yung gagawin natin palagi. Input the rebar info, calculate, check what the software did. Okay? And if we need to edit the rebar further, mamaya po i-edit natin yung cutting list ni software. Okay, so reminder, no? Select the column, tas calculate selected entity po muna before you go to the rebar 3D para po magpakita yung bakal. Alright, so that's it for the first example. Madali lang po, no? Now, let's dive in a little bit deeper, if I may. So, gawin natin mas advanced because honestly, if you were to ask me, wala naman sigurong column na ganyan itsura, no? Usually, our columns have densifications on support. So, may densification tayo dito, no? Based on some seismic requirements, mas masinsin yung bakal dito. Okay? So how do we model this? No? How do we define these things? No? Because we are only limited to syntax dito sa gilid. Limited lang tayo sa pag-type. How do we define this one? Okay? Now, actually, we can define it here in the syntax. Kaya naman po. Kaya lang, mahaba yung code. And ayoko po kayong pahirapan. No? Mahaba yung code. So, why not do it visually? Visually po tayo gagawa. So, for this next example, no? For this next example, I will be modeling first. Bigyan niyo po muna ako ng time to model it, no? Tapos po bibigyan ko kayo ng time later on para masundan niyo po lahat ng steps na gagawin ko. Okay? I will make it slow. Now, if you want to further edit your C1, go to the rebar info below. Dito po sa pinaka-ilalim. Rebar info. And then press these two buttons right here, no? Switch to multi-section, press this, and pop out edit section. Okay, just press these two buttons right here. Okay, make sure na nasa C1 po kayo, no? Make sure na nasa C1 kayo and then press these two buttons. And you will see meron po tayong a more elaborative window wherein we can further customize our rebar input. Okay, pwede natin i-customize yung rebar input natin. So, what do I mean? What do I mean? I can actually change the number of rebars. Okay? Or I can actually delete, no, what I previously done earlier. For example, ayoko nung yung stirrups, no? Ayoko ng stirrups. Select the stirrups, left click, and just press delete. Okay? Wala na ako stirrups. Oops, gusto ko ulit maglagay ng stirrups. No need for the syntax here in the edit section. Kasi again, we're doing everything visually. We are drawing it, no? We will be drawing it. Draw link. Draw link. Tapos edit the rebar info. Ano po yung link, ano po yung stirrups or yung ties na ilalagay natin? For example, gusto ko maglagay ng diameter 12 at 100. Just type the rebar info here first. Tapos po, we will use the drawing methods such as rectangle. And what I will do is I will select one rebar. Magda-drawing lang po ako ng tie. And then left click, meron na akong ties. So, kung gusto niyo po, dito na lang kayo mag-edit mamaya, no? So, kung ayaw niyo ng mga codes, drawing niyo na lang siguro para mas madali. Okay? Again, ulitin ko po, no? Draw link. Draw link. Edit the rebar information. Ano po yung spacing sa diameter? I-type niyo lang dito. And then use the command, maybe line.
no? Maybe line. Tapos po, i-drawing nyo lang, i-connect nyo lang yung mga rebar. From here, left click, up to here, left click. If you're done, press right click to confirm. Right click is the language of the software to end a certain drawing command. Right click, meron na akong ties, no? May ties na ako sa gitna. Okay, so for now, guys, kindly try to draw it first, no? Draw muna tayo. Try natin pumunta sa edit section, i-delete yung ating shear reinforcement, tapos po i-draw natin using the drawing links po. Then I will proceed to the next lesson, no? How do we do the densification? All right, so I will just stand by here. If you have questions, kindly chat sa chat box. If you're done, you can chat also done sa ating chat box so that we can proceed. Salamat po. Okay, tingnan natin yung mga nakatapos. Konti pa lang. Let's wait for the others. Okay, nakarami na. Nakarami na. Let's proceed, no? Let's proceed. Malinaw naman po, no? Pwede tayo mag-drawing kung ayaw niyo pong mag-type ng syntax. Now, what if I want to do densification, no? Densification, I want that this part right here mas masinsin kesa sa gitna. Because we know that in columns, it functions same as beams. So meron tayong mga left densification, right, tapos meron tayong mga rest spacing. So how do we do that? Very simple. Go to the window beside. Sa side po. Go to the window beside and unchain or click the chain buttons. Meron po tayong mga chain dito. Ito po. Ito. And ito. It means that we are unlocking a certain group or a certain densified zone. Okay? Kasi po, kapag in-unlock ko to, this one, this, and this, I'm allowed to edit the stirrups independently with different zone. Okay? Kung gusto ko sa joint spacing ko, mas masinsin or mas malaking bakal, let's say diameter 16, no? I can edit the link. Double click ko to, gagawin ko tong diameter 16 kasi nasa joint siya. Pwede po yun, no? So what will happen is this joint or this group will only be utilizing the diameter 16 rebar. Pero yung mga iba po, diameter 12 pa rin siya. Okay? So we can edit as well the others. So for example, dito sa upper and lower densification ko, it's diameter 12. Okay? For example. Pagdating po sa rest spacing sa gitna, medyo maluwag, no? Basically mas madali, mas less yung shear stress natin dito. So mas maluwag. Let's say 12 at 300 siguro. For example lang po, no? 12 at 300. Okay? So right now, since I unchained this, I'm allowing the software to specify different informations on every densification of my column. Okay? So that is how we edit the densification. Lastly, ano po yung distance nito, no? Gaano kalalim ito? Okay, gaano kalalim ito? So if we know sa code, the code prescribes us to use the maximum of 3 lengths. It is the maximum of clear height divided by 6 or the column dimension or the column depth or 450. Kung ano po yung mas malaki. Kung ano po yung mas malaki. So we can edit this, no? Baka sabi ng designer, 1,000 mm yung range ng densification. So you can type it directly po kung ayaw nyo yung prescribe ng code. Alright? So ulitin ko lang po, no? Ulitin ko lang before I let you practice. We can edit or unlock the densification zones by pressing on this chain links, no? chain, and then edit the link value in green manually. I-type nyo po kung ano yung specification per zone. You can also edit the span by double-clicking these cells right here. All right, so this is our third practice po. So kindly do that po muna. Gawin po muna natin before I proceed to the next lesson po. If you have questions, chat me lang po, no? So tingnan natin yung chat box. Magkayakap stirrups ko sa gitna. Paano gawin single? Okay? Pag magkayakap po, ibig sabihin ay magjowa sila. Joking. Pag magkayakap po, you use the rectangular. Po. Use the rectangular. So ang gagawin po natin is we will delete it. So right click. I will just delete this and press delete button. Tapos i-draw ko po ulit yung link. Tapos I will use the line. Line naman po yung gagamitin ko. Para isang link lang po. Wala pong nagyayakapan. Okay? So check natin yung questions. Can we edit number of densification zones? Say 3 to make it 5? Hindi po pwede, unfortunately. We are only allowed to do 3 densifications po. Okay? So pasensya na po, but that's the limitation of the software. We haven't encountered projects with multiple densifications on columns. Pero kung kailangan po ng clients namin, we can incorporate it po if necessary. How to show link below corner bar. How to show link below corner bar. You mean a corner po ba? Something like this? Show link on the corners. You may just click the cell lang po, no? Based on the location. Baka po hindi naka-unchain. Okay. Baka hindi daw naka-unchain. Okay. Kung hindi nyo po maklik to, no? Ang nakiklik nyo lang ito is press nyo po tong chain. Press nyo po para ma-unlock siya. Okay. Minsan po kasi hindi natin maklik. Just press this unchain button po. Okay. Salamat po sa isang participant for giving me a hint. So, sige po, ibigyan ko muna kayo ng oras, and if you're done, kindly chat done po sa ating chat box so that we can proceed. So we will try to make it a bit slower yung session natin ngayon. Pakisabi rin po kung masyado ako mabilis, no, or masyadong mabagal. I just want to adjust based on your needs, no, para po klaro ang lahat. Okay? Okay, salamat po. Let's try to proceed, no, on the next or on the last lang po. Last info I want to give to you. Masyado po kasing marami yung edit section commands dito. I cannot specify everything. Baka po tumagal tayo. But for example, meron po kayong bundling bars. May nagtatanong bundling bars. Punta lang kayo sa special method. Tapos, type nyo lang po anong rebar yung ilalagay nyo for bundling. Medyo manual po ito, no? Okay? Or sabihin natin isang piraso. For example, isang piraso. Isang piraso na diameter 25, no? Isang pirasong diameter 25. Maglalagay pa tayo for bonding. Then you will use we can use the point. Ang pinakamadali po is point, no? Use the point tapos lagay niyo lang po, no? Lagay niyo lang katabi. Medyo manual. Lagay niyo lang po katabi. Make sure na hindi po mag-overlap, no? Kasi pag nag-overlap, medyo mas silent si software. So lagay niyo lang po katabi. Dito, banda dito sa gilid. Yan. Ito. And maybe here and here. Naka-scale po ito, no? Kaya makikita niyo parang masyado malalaki yung bakal kasi malaki po yung diameter 25. Okay? Medyo maselan si software. Make sure na hindi po ito nag-overlap. And if you use the point command, automatic po magpapakita sa lahat ng section ng ating column. Okay, so yun lang po yung gusto ko i-add. Special method, rebar in po, and point. Okay, marami pa po tayo ibang methods. I won't be discussing. It's up to you to explore this po. Alright, so that's it. No, that's it. That's it for our manual way of column. And we can now calculate po. We can now calculate. So, gawin niyo po muna siguro special method point. Tapos, snap niyo lang po muna. Okay, so kung tapos na po kayo, no, ganito lang gagawin nyo, no? Ganito lang gagawin nyo. Pag tapos na kayo mag-edit nung column in a detailed manner, press this restore edit section form. Press nyo lang po, babalik siya sa ilalim. And then we will recalculate again. Okay? We will recalculate again. So every time na magbago kayo ng ng uh, rebar info sa inyong mga elements or maybe nagbago kayo ng project settings, press recalculate again. So pwede pa tayo mag-recalculate as long as hindi pa natin i-edit ang cutting list. Okay? Recalculate lang again. So calculate selected entity. Okay? And then show the rebar info again. So rebar 3D, rebar, edit rebar. So ayun na po itsura ng bakal natin. So meron na tayong densification. Mas masinsin na yung taas at baba. At may bundling na rin po tayo. May bundling na rin po tayo. Okay, you can show the calculations here as well. So yun lang po. Alright, so I will give you guys few minutes po, no? And then siguro I will just repeat the process all over again. Mabilisan lang po before I proceed to the walls. Para ma-review po tayo kung ano yung diniscuss natin. Pag nagsiswitch sa multi-section, nawawala yung specs of link below corner bar. Nawawala yung specs ng link below corner bar. Pag nag-switch sa multi-section, nawawala yung specs ng link below corner bar. I think dapat meron siya. Pero if you edit this sa edit section, yung links po dito nagiging bisection. Nagiging bisection siya kasi po sinusunod niya na yung dinrawing natin dito sa edit section form. Okay? So yun po siya, no? Hindi po siya nawawala. Kung ano lang yung nakadrawing dito, ito po yung susundin ni software. This has higher priority compared sa attribute editor, not unless binago niyo ulit yung attribute editor. Hindi po lumalabas yung additional bars. Kung di po lumalabas, please recalculate, select the bar, the column, calculate selected entity. So every time you make modifications, calculate po muna before you do the rebar 3D. Splice not shown on rebar 3D, nagpapakita po siya, nag-overlap lang. If you notice this bar right here, okay, if you zoom in, meron po kayong makikitang line, meron po kayong makikitang parang reflection nung bakal. Okay? Ibig sabihin, these are the splice zone. This one right here. Just a moment. Oops. Let me show to you, no? If I press number 1, nakikita niyo po ito? Ayan. Ayan. Meron rin po siyang kulay blue na kulay. If I press rebar number 2, may nag-overlap. So yun po yung lapping niya. So doon po siya nag-lap. Paano natin magpapakita sir yung distribution ng tie splicing zone? Karamihan design naka 100 spacing at splicing zone. Okay, for the splicing zone po, ganito, no? You go to project settings, okay? And calculation rules. Tapos po, at splicing zone, you can specify here sa column, are link lap zone densified? Just press yes. Lalagyan po ng splicing ni software yan. Okay, lalagyan ni splicing ni software yan. Papalitan niya ng densification po. Okay, ang densification will be 100 mm ata. Minimum of 5 times bar diameter or 100 mm as spacing. So, for this example, di po natin gagawin kasi mapupuno ng bakal yung ng stirrups, yung ng ties ng ating column. So, dito lang po siya may edit sa calculation rules. So, if you edit this, recalculate again, doon po magpapakita. Sir, na-edit ko na po yung bakit may lumalabas na overlap other main rebar. Make sure na meron pong ano, no, merong awang. Medyo maselan po si software na medyo maselan si software. For example, this one, no. Lagyan po natin ng awang. Okay, somewhere here's ganito siguro. Okay, so lagyan natin ng awang po. Okay, so that's it po for our modeling procedure regarding columns. Is there any more questions po, no? Before I proceed to the next topic, pwede po ba mag-share screen with the regards dun sa link na binanggit ko? Sige po, I will stop my share screen so that you can share po. Okay, other main bars. Wala po yung ties. Okay, ganito po yan. No? Let me just request remote control. Pag nawala po yung spacing, ito po ang ibig sabihin. No? Yung ties nyo dito has a different spacing. I'll go to draw link. No? Yung ties nyo po dito, oops, sorry. Yung ties nyo po dito, I cannot select. Ayan. Yung ties nyo po dito has a different spacing compared to dito. Baka po ang naset nyo na spacing dito is at 150, tapos dito po is at 100. Parang ganun, no? So, what I will do here is something like this. I will delete first, no, both. Ayun, nagpakita na siya. Pakita na siya. Tapos po magdo-draw link ako. Tapos mag-specify po ako, no, ng parehas na spacing. Kasi po pag hindi ko rin specify na parehas na spacing, mawawala po yung link natin. Yung link indicator natin. So parehas na siya 10 at 300. Okay, so yun po ang reason kung bakit hindi po nagpapakita ang spacing ng ating links. It will be uploaded sa Teachables. Yes, i-upload ko rin po sa Teachables yung training natin for TRB. Yung staggering po pala ng vertical bars as shown, nakita 100% splicing siya. Okay, if you go to calculation rules, meron po tayong staggering rule here, no? Just a disclaimer lang po about this staggering, no? I have to clarify two things. First thing is, how does the software staggers? Okay, the software staggers based only on the code, no? Based on the code only. Based on my interpretation, akin lang po, no? If you cut a section, sabi ng code, if you cut a section on any location of the column, you must have splicing less than 100% kung ganun po yung requirements. For example, 50% lang. So if you cut any section, you must have a splicing of 50%. Okay, walang ibang splicing. So if I activate the staggering, okay, if I activate the staggering, let's say 50%, ang gagawin po ni software is paghihiwalay niya yung bakal. Okay, paghihiwalay niya yung bakal, tapos po, with a stagger distance, no? So basically, pwede yung stagger distance natin 600 mm. Pwede rin po yung stagger distance natin ma-edit dito. Let's say it's 1/3 times the lapping length as your stagger distance. So kumbaga, ihihiwalay ni software po para po walang weak spot doon sa column ninyo. Okay? Ganun po mag-stagger si software. Now, if you use this, be careful, no? If this is kumbaga, pwede po ito i-apply sa project ninyo. There are times that your column is too short, no? Sabi natin column nyo, 3 meters lang. 3 meters lang kunwari column. Tapos yung lapping nyo po ay 1 metro. So hindi mapagkasya ni software kahit anong gawin niya, hindi po niya mapagkasya, no? So sobra na sa column span. So what will happen is the software will give you an error. Okay, will give you an error. Hindi po niya kayang gawin yung staggering of lapping bars. Now, you will also think of, what if, sir, ilipat ko na lang yung slapping sa next floor, no? Lipat ko na lang kayo sa next floor, sir. That's possible actually. Pero just remember po that the software is only limited on this current floor. Wala po tayong floor sa second floor, wala po tayong floor sa third floor, no? Actually, in modeling in the Cubicost software po, per per instance yung modeling procedure natin. Kung natatandaan nyo yung task, every floor po tayo nagmo-model. So, si software po, kino-consider niya yung lapping span on that column height only, on that certain floor only. Okay? Kung gusto niyo po maglipat ng bakal from or maglipad ng splicing location from one floor to another, we will edit the cutting list later on po. Okay? So that is the explanation about the lapping. Now, let me just proceed po since we are a bit lagging on time. How about if we model or we upload an Excel file? Okay, what if we upload an Excel file? Kasi sir, isa lang po yung inedit natin tapos po well, gusto ko sabay-sabay, no? Sabay-sabay. Mas mabilis. So, to do that po, what I will do is I will, siguro I will, siguro ang gagawin ko na lang is I will upload an Excel. Okay? Direct upload ko na po yung Excel, no? So, I will upload an Excel file in our chat box. Okay? So sa chat box, meron rin po kayo Excel file sa training materials pero para hindi na po kayo maghanap, i-upload ko na lang po dito sa chat box. Okay? So ito po yung Excel file natin. Okay? Column rebar table po. So pasensya na dun sa spelling ng table, no? Nagkamali. But this is the column rebar table that we will be uploading. So ipakita ko po muna, no? Ipakita ko po muna. I will go to draw and then identify schedule. Let's now utilize schedule po. Now, if I utilize a schedule, pupunta lang po ako dito and then I will type or I will find yung ating rebar schedule, yung column table po natin. Press open and then ang gagawin po natin is i-edit po natin yung table. Pasensya na po dun sa background, no? Maingay yung barangay namin. After we upload the table, what we will do po is we will edit the table. So, marunong naman po tayo mag-edit the table based from TAS software. No? So, ang gagawin lang po natin is I will... Oops, meron natang nanonood ng anime. Lang muna yung mga chat box in chat natin, ay yung mic natin. Okay, so, now, what we will do here is we will edit the table first. Edit po na natin yung table. So, in row 2, i-delete ko po muna ito. No? I will delete this row because we know that we don't need header. I will delete this row. So, delete row. Ayan. Now, ang gagawin natin is to associate our original header, the one in yellow, dun sa mga infos sa ilalim. Okay? So, ang gagawin ko, I will set this as the base of the column and as the height of the column po. Just like we're doing in TAS. Okay? And we know as well that these are the main bars and these are the links. Ito po yung links natin and these are the legs. So basically, instead of typing the attribute editor one by one, why not type it in Excel? Make sure that the codes are correct, no? Make sure that the syntax are understandable by the software para po siya na po yung maglagay ng mga values, okay, ng mga rebar informations to our model. Okay, so that is the purpose of identify schedule. Now, before I press generate in column schedule, before I generate these quantities, kindly do the process first. Okay, hintayin ko po muna kayo. Under the draw, identify schedule. Tapos po, delete the header, yung header po ng Excel by deleting the row. And then, check the header of the software kung tama po. This should be the name, the base, the height, the main bars, the links, and the legs. Okay, so that's it po. No? I will just wait for you. Hintayin ko po muna kayo and then we will continue to the next procedure. Does it mean din po ba, sir, na I can make my own Excel rebar schedule then follow the format then incorporate to TRB? That is correct. You can make your own schedule, type it, and then i-import nyo na po sa TRB. Just make sure that the names on the table is the same as the name on your element list para po makita at ma-associate ni software yung mga bakal natin. Okay? Same name po dapat. Walang space, walang dot, walang hyphen. Same name po dapat. Alright? So I'll just wait for you guys before we proceed to the next step. Salamat po. Okay, so I think done na po ang lahat. Tapos naman po, no? Sir, yung table only is applicable to ground floor or is it apply to all? Okay, kung meron po kayo ibang floor, mamaya po i-edit natin. But right now, this is for ground floor only or for the current floor only. Mamaya po pwede natin siyang i-edit. Sir, ano po yung syntax ng plus? Okay, ang syntax po ng plus is that if you have different rebar information, yung pinakauna po will be the corner rebars. Yung second po, lahat po ng nasa sides ng column. So it is separated by plus. So hindi ko na po ito itinuturo pero pwede po nating mahanap siya dito sa gilid, no? Dito po sa gilid, dun po sa syntax information sa gilid. Okay, so yun po yung ibig sabihin niya. Now, let's try to proceed. Press the generate to column schedule. Okay, there are two ways to generate. First is generate in element, no? Pag generate in element, papasok agad ni software dun sa model natin. We don't have space or we don't have chance to edit it further. But I suggest generate in column schedule para po i-tabulate muna ni software sa kanya tapos po saka natin i-edit yung mga informations kung meron siyang pagkakamali in terms of reading. Okay? So generate in column schedule. So yung nakita niyo po, no? There are 29 columns identified. Press OK. Press yes. May lalabas po na column schedule. So, sir, anong difference? Okay, anong difference ng column schedule na in-upload natin in Excel sa column schedule ni software? Ano po yung difference, no? So parang ni-retype niya lang, no? Ni-retype niya lang. Actually, parang ganun na nga po, no? Parang ganun na nga siya. But there's more editing freedom here in the column schedule. Okay? Mas may freedom pa tayong i-edit bago natin ipa-absorb kay software yung informations. Okay? So ano po ang ibig sabihin niyan? Everything in color blue, no? This blue one represents the column element. Okay? The concrete column. Okay? So concrete column po yung nasa ilalim. Nasa blue. Now, yung nasa ilalim niya po, these are the rebar information per floor. The rebar information per floor. So, kapag nakakita siya ng C11 at ground floor, ito yung bakal niya. Okay, ito yung bakal niya. Now, sir, paano pag may ibang floors, no? So, simply just add, dito sa ilalim, just add a new floor po. Okay? Tapos po, i-identify niya naman po ito as second floor. Okay? As second floor. Pag nag-add po kayo ng new floor, okay? Wala pa pong bakal yan. Wala pang bakal yan, no? Ang gagawin niyo na lang po, ika-copy-paste niyo na lang, no? Copy-paste niyo na lang. Kaya drag niyo na lang po para mapunta sa unang floor. Okay? So ganun lang po, no? Ganun lang siya. So hindi ko po muna gagawin niyo, no? Just one floor lang po muna tayo. I will delete this. Delete this. Ganun lang po, para isahan na lang lahat ng column ng structure natin nandito na sa table. Hindi na natin siya i-model manually sa ating software. Now, also, you can check how it looks like, how the rebar looks like, no? You can press every white row that represents the rebar per floor. Tapos makikita nyo po dito sa gilid kung ano po yung setup ni software. Okay? So may freedom pa tayong baguhin. So for example, parang may mali dito, no? I can set the densification, saka ko po siya i-edit dito. So parang nag-iisa-isa lang tayo ng column checking. Okay? Checking lang po tayo isa-isa. If you want the densification, you may do so. Pwede natin gawin yung densification. Okay? You may do that on all the columns for security purposes para kapag upload natin, okay na lahat, no? Okay na po lahat. So pwede niyo po i-check lahat ng naka-row in white. Now, okay? Now, paano po ba, sir, kapag okay na ako, no? Okay na ako. Press sync to entity. Sync to entity. So what will happen is the software will sync the values, will absorb all these values papunta po sa structure natin. Magkakaroon po ng baka lahat. Okay, magkakaroon ng baka lahat. So if I press sync to entity and press yes or okay, may bakal na po lahat. Okay? You don't have to type one by one, may bakal na po lahat. So I'll just close this and close this as well. Okay, so yun lang po yung procedure. Kindly press generate to column schedule and then sync to entity po. Okay, so I will wait for you guys and I will try to answer the questions on the chat box po. Sir, paano po lumabas yung drawing sa gilid? Okay, if I go to the column schedule, kunyari ito po yung column schedule ko. Kapag po smaller window siya, make it bigger, no? Magpapakita po yung box sa gilid, yung editing section sa gilid. Sir, paulit nga po yung definition ng kulay blue. Thank you. Ang kulay blue po, these are the concrete elements. These are the task elements. Okay? So ibig sabihin po kasi, we are defining the columns per element name. No? If I say C1, I know that if I say that this is C12, I know that C12 has a dimension of 450 by 200. But the rebar can be varying. No? Pwedeng yung rebar sa ground floor, iba. Yung rebar sa second floor, iba. That's why we have this white rows right here that will represent the rebar information. Okay? So sa ground floor, ito daw yung bakal po niya. No? Ito po yung bakal niya sa ground floor. You can add or create a new floors po para po sa mga next floors. Okay, so that is the explanation po. Edit section is still not showing up. Edit section is still not showing up. Okay, edit section daw, it's still not showing up. If you navigate with other columns po, wala pa rin nagpapakita na edit section. Can I confirm po with the others kung wala pong nagpapakita na edit section? Also, just want to check, no? Baka po nakahiwalay yung window ng edit section natin. You can try to minimize yung windows natin and find baka po yung location na is nasa ibang panig ng ating computer. Okay, nasa different window daw. So check nyo po yung different window. I-navigate nyo po yung mga window tabs nyo dito sa ilalim. Baka po nasa different window daw yung edit section natin. Okay, so after that, no, again, press sync to entity. Sync to entity and press OK. So i-absorb po ni software yung mga bakal natin. And if we calculate all po, ang gagawin natin is I will go to quantity and then batch select. Batch select po. Kung natatandaan niyo yung batch select sa task, we will batch select all the columns and then we will calculate selected entity. So medyo matagal po yung calculation procedure sa software no, compared sa task because these are for rebar detailing. Okay? Now, if you want to view the rebar 3D, go to batch select again, batch select, tapos select natin lahat ng columns. Okay? Select natin lahat ng columns. Tapos po, view the rebar 3D. The software will show you all the rebar 3Ds associated with the table. Okay? And disclaimer lang po, only the regular rectangular structures. Kapag circular po yan or kapag L-shape yan, hindi ma-define ni software. So you might need to do it manually. Okay? So that's it po for our lessons regarding the column manually and by Excel identification. I will just wait for you guys, no? I will wait for you. If you have questions, i-chat nyo lang po dito sa chat box before I show you a quick example of the walls bago po tayo mag-lunch break. Okay? So tingnan ko lang po. So according to one of our participants, pag wala pa rin daw, i-alt tab nyo daw. Press your alt button, then tab. May magpapakita ng maliit na screen. So press nyo lang po yung alt tab. Baka magpakita po dito. Nasa ibang screen lang po siya. Okay? So nagtatago lang po. Salamat po for that tip. Alt tab lang natin. Baka po magpakita siya. So isa-isay natin yung windows natin. Okay, so hintayin ko po muna kayo. No? Our time now is 11:48. If you're done, kindly chat done sa chat box. Tapos i-summarize natin yung diniscuss natin before we proceed to the walls before lunch po. Are we going to model circular column? No need na po, no? I'm just showing you the basic principles. We don't have to model everything here because baka po mas tumagal tayo. So our goal for today is to just model the structure. Know how to model the structure po. Okay? for quiz purposes later on. Okay, so if everyone's done na po, let me just uh, wrap up what we defined earlier regarding sa columns. So we have two methods on how to model the columns. So when I click the rebar 3D, two columns lang po ang nag-appear. Naka-batch, question number 1, naka-batch select po ba kayo? So batch select and then calculate all columns po dapat. All columns. Okay, tapos calculate selected entity. Okay, if you press calculate selected entity kagad, yung sinelect nyo lang po yung magka-calculate. So wala pong bakal yung iba. Then after that, you do the rebar viewing po ulit. Okay, so let me just wrap things up. No? Ang ginawa po natin kanina is we model it, the rebars of the column manually and via Excel. So ang manual way po is just edit the main bars, edit the links and the legs on the side. Ang syntax po ng main bar is 5A20, means 5 diameter 20 for example. Ang syntax po ng link is A10-300, it means diameter 10 at 300. Ang syntax po ng legs is vertical by horizontal. Kapag hindi po na-accomplish yung number of legs, ibig sabihin wala pong mapaglagyan na bakal si software. So kailangan niya pa po magdagdag ng main bars. Now, we can also edit the rebar section here. Kapag gusto niyo pong mas deeper ang pag-input ng rebar info, pop out edit section and switch to multi-sections po. Okay? You can unchain this. Unchain po natin para mag-define ng densification. Tapos po, i-edit yung links, yung value dito manually per densified zone. Also, you can draw the link. No? Draw the link, edit the rebar info po, tapos use the commands to draw it by connecting the rebars. Okay? Also, on the special method, you can use the point command to specify quantities. No? Yung quantities, yung rebars natin. By just snapping lang po. Now, once you're done, you can select the column. Okay, select the column. Tapos po, calculate selected entity. We need to calculate the selected entity first. Tapos po, rebar 3D to view the rebar 3D of that column. The software will show you the exact replica, no, the exact scaling of your rebar. Tapos po, edit rebar will show you the calculations po, isa-isa. I-highlight po siya ni software based on the calculation rules. Calculation rules pa lang po. We are not editing based on the cutting lengths. Okay? So, yun pa lang po yung ginawa natin. Also, what we can do is we can edit. Okay? We can edit the, we can input the rebar info via Excel po. No? Identify schedule, import the column, okay? Edit or delete the unnecessary rows, edit the name or the header, tapos po generate in column schedule. Once we generate in column schedule po and then we sync to entity, magkakaroon na po ng bakal lahat ng ating regular rectangle columns. Okay, so kung regular column po yan, pag actually just a correction, no, pwede po circular, no? Basta ang table natin is puro circular. Pwede pong rectangular, basta ang table natin is rectangular. So only one shape. Pero yung mga irregular po, hindi natin magagawa. Okay? Hindi natin magagawa. Kailangan po natin silang i-manual. Check lang po natin yung mga questions sa mga ibang mga clients. Ibang mga participants, I mean. So wala po talagang rebar yung rectangular column members. Yung mga ibang rectangular column members, kailangan may rebar po. If I'm not mistaken, let me just check on my part. Ang reason po behind that is number one, baka po mali yung name ng column. Okay, baka hindi po na-identify ni software yung name ng column. So if I batch select po, and then rebar 3D. Oops, rebar 3D. Kailangan po may bakal lahat ng rectangular columns natin. Kung hindi po, wala pong bakal yung rectangular columns natin, ang ibig sabihin po is iba yung pangalan or may na-edit po tayo dun sa pangalan ng ating table. Okay, hindi ma-associate ni software. So you may do po the same procedure siguro after the training po or maybe on the lunch break. Also kapag kunwari may gusto tayong baguhin sa column schedule natin, no? Punta lang tayo sa column schedule dito. You can re-edit the info again. Pwede natin balikan, no? Pwede natin balikan ulit. So hindi na po tayo hindi na po mahirap mag-edit. So punta lang tayo sa column schedule and re-edit it again po. All right? So that's pretty much it for the columns. Our time now is 11:54. I expected po talaga na medyo matagal yung discussion of TRB compared to TAS. So before we take our lunch po, what I want to discuss po is quick example lang po sa walls. Okay, wala pa, don't need to model this, no? You don't need to model this po. Quick example lang po sa walls. Okay? Let me just check. Nakasync to entity na ako pero pag rebar 3D ko, no rebar found pa din. Okay, press calculate. Calculate na po siguro para lahat makalculate na, no? Press calculate. Tapos saka po tayo mag-rebar 3D. So, batch select columns and then rebar 3D. There should be rebar informations po there. So, siguro calculate button na po yung gamitin natin para makalculate na po lahat. Okay. So, let me discuss first yung last part na po natin ng ating morning session. Just give me 5 minutes. You don't have to model it on your part po, no? These are just supplementary knowledge. So, let's model walls. Okay? Ang walls po, madali lang. Madali lang ang walls. Ibang usapan kapag shear wall. Ibang usapan pag wall with confinement. Okay? If you want to know that methods of modeling, I will make a separate video regarding that. Okay? Kasi po medyo pang advanced user na po sila. So, pag walls, just go to wall, tapos you can use either RC wall or wall column. Okay? So, for example, RC wall, I will just create a wall outside our structure. So, mag-create lang po ako ng wall, no? This one. Now, how do I put rebar information? Okay, how do I put rebar information? Again, you don't have to follow with me. Naselect ko lang po yung wall, tapos po i-input ko lang po yung info ng item 6, 7, 8, 9 sa attribute editor. Okay, this one right here. Now, horizontal bars will be, ang code niya po is just like links, no? A12 at 200. Just like links, A12 at 200. Ang pagkakaiba lang po, maglalagay tayo ng open and close parentheses for the layers. Let's say this is 2 layers. Okay? So, meron na akong horizontal bars. Vertical bars will be done the same, in the same manner. No? So, A12 at 200, meron na akong vertical bars po. Binders. So, what are binders? No? Binders are, this one, no? Yung number 8. Binders are, what we call this, binders are confinement zones, no? Confinement zones po siya. So this one are confinement zones. So kung gusto niyo po lagyan ng parang malaking stirrups dun sa ating wall, pwede rin po. So we can use the binder. And the syntax is also the same, no? So, lalagay lang natin A10 at 300, magkakaroon tayo ng binder na 10 at 300 po. You don't have to define the layers kasi automatic naka-enclose na yan, so automatic 2 layers na po siya. And lastly, the hooks. So the hooks naman po, these are the ties, no? Yung mga maliliit na ties sa ating model or sa ating walls. Maliliit na ties po yan. Parang ganyan. So ang definition po niyan is A, tas bar diameter, let's say 10, tapos po, dash, tapos yung vertical count, vertical spacing, so sabihin natin 300 by horizontal spacing. Okay? So maglalagay siya ng ties. So if I do that, type ko lang po, binder is A10-300. The hooks is wala tayong diameter 6, so let's say diameter 10. And then if I calculate, this wall right here. And if I view the rebar 3D, ito po yung magiging itsura niya. These are the horizontal walls, no? Automatic mag-hook siya kasi nakakita siya ng termination. And then these are the vertical, no? These are the horizontal walls, no? Horizontal walls po ito. So in total 10.5 meters po siya. Kasama yung mga kung may hooks man, kasama po yung hooks sa gilid. Next, how about the binders? Paano po yung binders? Oops, nawala ako. Sa moment, nawala po yung aking model. Ayan. So, paano po yung binders? So, for the binders naman po, ang itsura po niyan ay para siyang stirrups na nakayakap. Okay? Okay, para siyang stirrups po na nakayakap. So, ito po yung dulo ng stirrups na nakayakap. Okay? Tapos po, naka-overlay rin yung mga bars, no, na continuous po. Tapos, ito po yan. Sorry, ito po siya. Tapos, lastly, yung ties po. Okay? Yung ties is ito po yan. Space at horizontal and vertical po at 600 mm. You will notice meron pong buckles na kulay yellow sa baba. So, these are the lapping, no? Kapag meron pong next wall sa ilalim or sa taas, maglalap po yan by the lap value po or the splice value. Okay, so that is how we model yung walls po. So I just show you yung pag-model po ng walls natin. You don't have to model it kasi wala po tayo RC wall sa project natin. But for recording purposes, I just want to add this para po alam natin kung paano mag-model outside the training po. Alright, so that's it po, no? Our time now is exactly 12 p.m. That's the first session or first part of our training, TRB training. And I will be seeing you guys afternoon po. We will continue on 2 other elements, the beams and the slabs po. So I hope guys you enjoy your lunch this afternoon po. Thank you for listening with me on listening to me this morning session. And I hope you guys na umattend pa rin po kayo sa afternoon session para po dun sa ating quiz later on. Okay? So before I let you go guys, any more questions po ba? Baka may questions po tayo. Kasama po ba yung circular and other shape aside from rectangular rebar na na-schedule sa rebar schedule na na-calculate kanina? Hindi po kasama. Ang kasama lang po ay rectangular. Okay, so if you have a circular, you might need to create another element schedule for the circular po. Kasi po, one shape at a time lang po yung pag-upload ng Excel. Pag meron po tayo irregular, L-shape, Z-shape, hindi po kaya ni software po. Sir, can we model circular columns after quiz for additional knowledge? Sure po. No? Parehas lang po yung pag-model ng rectangular. So imbis na length and width po, pwede naman, ang lalagay lang po natin is diameter, no? Diameter of the column po. No? And doon na po susunod yung spiral stirrups natin. Bali mag-individual shaping po sa Excel file niya upload. Yes po. Bali yung individual po. Maybe you can shape specify it per sheet page po ng inyong Excel. Tapos isa-isa na lang nyo na lang po i-upload sa inyong software. So later po itatry ko mag-model ng ties or ng spiral ties or circular columns after the quiz. So ipaalala nyo na lang po sa akin. Okay, so that's it po for our morning session. Again, maraming salamat po for listening. I will see you guys 1 p.m. Okay, 1 p.m. po magkita tayo so that we can discuss about the beams. Okay, don't forget to save your work. Control S lang po, no? Control S, save your work please. Ayun lang po. Maraming salamat po and have a good lunch.